Hello and welcome to episode 382 of the Awesome Comics Podcast, the place where the small press makes one hell of a big noise. I'm a very bunged up Vince Hunt, and joining me this week, as always, is the creator of the webcomic Vanguard, Dan Butcher.
Hello.
The bangers in everyone's mash, it's Tony Esmond.
Bangers and mash. We had a little conversation about that. That wasn't nice,
Yes,
was it?
yes, and it's the sort of conversation, as always, folks, that you'll never hear, because the stuff that happened before we start recording
It gets banned off iTunes.
It gets banned off anything, off the internet.
Almost as bad as John Ottaway's story about Toblerone from yesterday. We'll get onto that in a minute.
Yeah, maybe we'll hear about that in a minute. But we are not alone this week. We are joined by artist extraordinaire and one half of ArtNineTwo. It's our good pal, H. Hello.
Hiya. How you doing?
Hey, H. You all right?
Yeah.
Helena, how's it going?
It's going very, very well, thank you. How's it? How are you guys, apart from Vince being very bunged up? Bless you. Oh, God. Oh, no. I meant with his cold. That's it.
Very what?
Thank you. Yes, we are good. All the better for hearing from you, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, yay. Thank you.
And we will, of course, be talking about your work. All creatures great and small we're going to talk about this week. How's that for a segue to the topic? And let's say a lot of you might sort of understand where we're coming from this week, because we're going to be talking a little bit about animals in comics. Maybe some maybe your pets, maybe your animals, maybe some, am I going to say this word right, anthropomorphic.
Yes.
Oh,
said that word right, Vince.
It's the Lemsip.
And we've got a little quiz. Stand by for the quiz.
We've got a quiz.
Yeah.
We've got all kinds this week, and H is going to be with us for the whole show. So,
I am indeed, yeah.
So expect a lot of great recommendations as well when we get to that, and probably a load of very immature laughter, because she's just as bad as us.
I think sometimes she's worse, to be fair.
Oh yeah.
Shush.
But there are people in this world that are worth supporting, such as our they're good people. People that you should check out, such as our lovely sponsors, Comic House. Yes, we are sponsored. This show is sponsored. Still, unbelievable. They are an indie comic marketplace that, like us, loves indie comics from all over the world. If you go to comichouse.com, there's a huge selection of titles on their database. If you're a creator yourself and you're looking for another avenue to get your work out there, you can list your book on there. And there's a little shop front, etc., and there's links. But they also have a digital app, which is amazing. Stuff's being added to all the time. It's like Netflix for comics. It's a subscription service, only £3 a month, and you get access to an enormous and growing library of digital indie comics. What's on there at the moment, Dan?
I was going to highlight a Bloop Shop, independent publisher of books and zines by Alex Hahn. We've got the little book of Bloop and Cool. There's a cat called Yuki, a little zap of Bloop Shop, Bloop and the Pigeon Pandemic, 1, 2, 3, 4. Bloop's Super Secret Mission, and all these are available to read on the Comic House app.
What's Bloop?
I think it's one of the kind of weird alien character.
It's
that's
a little
alien
character.
Right.
Alex is a great creator. He was one of the first time I ever tabled at Thought Bubble. I had a table next to him, and I think Nottingham a couple of years ago. I did an interview with him as well. Definitely check out his stuff, because it's great sense of humour. He's the one that did the Muffin and Craft.
The one you bought me. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
There you go.
So there's all that stuff and more that you can discover now. And if you're an indie creator yourself, and maybe you've got some old digital comics just gathering dust on your hard drive, then
made by yourself, not made by other people.
Yeah. Only post on your own work, people.
Or sell DVDs of other people's work on eBay.
It's done. We're not talking about your side hustle anymore, Tony. Not on this show.
I've never bought one of them.
Don't lie.
That's gone quiet.
You used to get people who come around a pub, didn't you, near closing time, like selling movies and stuff.
I remember a mate of mine used to buy pornography off this lady who came around the pub, and so he used to buy such terrible pornography. She said, "I can't look at him in the face."
But she was selling it. What a hypocrite!
Let me tell you about a mate of mine. Because they went to comichouse.com to find out more about their 14-day free trial and to dive headfirst into the amazing world of small press we talk about every week. Thank you very
wise,
much to our
mate,
sponsors.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Very cultured.
Not like the fools we know buying grot on DVD in the pub.
I only hang out with the wisest and coolest
like horse
people.
porn or something.
Yeah.
And us.
Look. Yeah, and you. which is I only hang out with the best people, which is why I was sad that I had to pull out of this past weekend's event.
It's always sad to pull out, isn't it?
But well, I'm not taking that any further. No, that's a wrong thing to say. What am I saying? Yes, a BAM Comics, Zines and Art Fair was this past weekend, and Tony Esmond was there. He's everywhere. He's like
baby.
He's like the Flash.
It's like the month of being everywhere this month. Like trying to work out.
Man, you're flying
around. It's like a jigsaw
Yeah.
of places.
October, it has become the crazy comics month, really, hasn't it?
Yeah, because there's something next week. I'm at Nottingham. You're at Nottingham H next week, aren't you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
seeing
Yeah.
you there. So this week was Bath. I got there. Sort of. So I spoke to Rach on the phone, Rach RLC, from our last week's guest, and I said, like, can I get this? She said, "I'll come to 9 because you can have a coffee while we set up." So I went in and ended up helping put tables out and stuff with Rachel, Dave, Nunu, and Nick, who are the organisers. It's in the Comedia. I tell you what, I think sales is a secondary issue for me these days. I've decided I don't care anymore about sales. People are going about sales are rather rude, and I don't like it. And my father always told me the gentleman never discuss money, so I'm not really bothered about that side of things to any sort of great extent. But to be fair, it was massive sales-wise for us. But the atmosphere there was absolutely brilliant. I had the best time. I probably worth floating past you is sort of hours of conventions. So this one was 11 to 3.
Yeah.
Which 4 hours just flew by. Nice amount of time. There was no sort of lulls where you go, "No, can I sit down for a bit and have a sandwich?" Like you do at normal conventions,
Yeah.
Perfect amount of time. The staff there were lovely. So the staff came in and were just chatting when we opened up. And then what you could do is you could go to the bar and order food. And being a veggie, they had great veggie and vegan options there as well. And then they'd bring it to the table and have a chat with you. So they were sort of coming over, dropping us a coffee over and having a chat about our comics and then heading back to the bar. It was lovely. Where'd you get that?
Yeah.
That was great. Yeah, that was really awesome.
That's
I've got
a real.
some shout-outs.
I mean, that's a real step up from just overall as well. Like there, because it's always been lovely there. But I think the last one was the Christmas fair. So at the same time, so it's pretty full on. So like the staff there was sort of so snowed under with lots of people in the coffee shop and things like that. Whereas
I can't imagine everyone
mobbed outside.
That.
Yeah.
I mean, Johnny Ottaway, who obviously we have to say for legal reasons is not a murderer of any kind, or he's never buried a body. He had to drive around for about an hour trying to find a space. Took him ages. It was busy in Bath,
Yeah.
So the football was good. We sold loads of comics to people we didn't know. Genuinely, I sold maybe 3 times as many comics as I sold at the Thought Bubble at this event in 4 hours. Yeah, and Thought Bubble was the big one, isn't the one we all compare things to, isn't it?
Interesting. Just a question: what was a predominant, cash or card?
A bit of mixture, actually. Yeah,
okay.
Probably the card machines were a bit crap from where we were sat, so we had to fanny around a bit, and so some people going, "Oh, I've got cash, I can just give you cash." So we had a bit of that as well,
Yeah.
But it was 50-50, I think, to be fair. Yeah, a few swaps as well. Swap comics. That's our nature, isn't it? In small press, we swap with people. I don't mind that. In fact, I'm keen to do that. I think it's a great little thing to do. So here's some of the people I met. So big shout out to a guy called Daniel who came over. I'm sort of standing there because Falpy was sort of 10 minutes. He was on the train, so he arrived just sort of 10 minutes after opening. And he went, "Are you Adam Falp?" Obviously Adam is held in high regard in the indie comics community. As being the biggest degenerate apart from me. And I went, "No." And he says, "Oh, you Tony?" He says, "Yeah." He says, "I listen to Awesome Comics and Never on Anything." And me and him had this like massive chat for ages. And then it turned out we also came from the same bit of London. So we had a massive chat about that. And I had to say to him, I said, "Your son's looking daggers." He says, "Oh, he told me when we come in, don't spend ages talking to people, Dad." No, that was nice. Is that? That's nice.
That's really nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Rick Jackson and his son were there. I haven't seen Rick. Well, I think Rick hasn't really done a con for a while. I bumped into him in London recently, but it was lovely to see him. Really nice to see him. Mr. and Mrs. Mulrain were there. They were good company. Had a chuckle with him. Simon L. Reed. I did a dramatic reading of a comic of his with Rachel about a year ago on NIA, and he was sort of chuckling about it, because she's a big fan of this stuff, and I really.
Oh, he took it in good.
Oh, mate, totally. Yeah. Really nice dude. Yeah. Paul Ashley Brown, who I love Paul's comics. I've recommended a couple on here before, and he did a pin-up for Herc 4 for us. And he sort of joined us in the bar afterwards. Joseph Simons turned up, had a good chat with Joseph. I've not really ever spoken to properly, although he did our badges for us. Do you remember?
Yeah.
He did those Awesome Comics badges.
Oh, man, yeah, those badges are great.
Badges,
yeah, so good. Kev Cooling was there. Nice to see Kev again.
Hey.
It was a good laugh. So talking about his podcast, The Wiper.
I keep forgetting to fucking check that out. I keep seeing it. I was like, oh, man, I've got to listen to that. And then...
Yeah, I do it on Spotify.
Oh, okay.
Is where I listen to it. Yeah, it's good. So I sort of subscribed on there. Obviously, John Nottaway was there. He was good company. I think you've probably all seen now on the social media when as soon as he arrived, Nunu and Rachel had bought him like a T-shirt with loads of knives on it, and as he arrived and they gave it to him, it's like a cheer went up. It was like making me die. Yeah, absolutely making me die. Big shout to Cole Henley. He was there, so we know him from the Drink and Draws. So he came over for a chat. He just lives down the road, not far away, and. Someone came over, a lady called Callie, who's sort of gone down the road of making sort of zines and small press stuff. And she came over and she had a good chat. It was a really nice lady. And then she sort of joined us for a beer afterwards. Honestly, it was genuinely one of my favourite convention experiences.
Hey,
that sounds
weird,
good,
isn't it? Yeah. So nice, gentle, relaxed, friendly.
Ones.
Yeah, everyone was very inclusive. There was, you know, you go to some conventions and there's, because we're just sort of, we lark about and we're sort of boisterous men in our 40s and 50s, that's our nature, isn't it? Some people are slightly aloof with us, don't they? Or slightly but everyone was super inclusive. We were coming over and chatting and,
that's fantastic.
Yeah,
brilliant.
Absolutely lovely.
Well, it's the atmosphere on the whole that makes a convention, I think.
Yeah. Well, it is for our world, isn't it?
Yeah. I think so, because when you have something like the big shows, I mean, for instance, let's say an MCM, something like that. That's more of a spectacle. That is, it's easy to just get drowned in the pomp and pizzazz of everything. But when it comes to pretty much every other sort of comic convention, it is totally about an atmosphere because, you can meet some wonderful people. You haven't, whenever I go to a convention and I meet some people that I didn't know before and they're really, really nice, I come away buzzing, and it doesn't matter how well I've done, really.
No, I don't care, mate, anymore. Yeah. I travelled there, I stayed in a hotel the night before, petrol being what it is, even though the tables were free, I'll never make my costs back. But what I mean? But it's a hobby that I enjoy, and I came away inspired,
Yeah. You tabled with Clear Run a couple of weeks ago, didn't you?
Bridlington, Bridlington, yeah.
Bridlington, yes.
Similarly, it was a fairly small convention, and that was, so you looked over the balcony, you thought, oh, maybe it's not so small because it was absolutely heaving. But yeah, I agree with Tony. I think the smaller ones, and I like the hours that the BAM did as well. That seems like a really sensible amount of time, because like you said, Tony, there's sort of periods in a day where you just think, oh God, because you get these lulls, don't you? Think, now what do I do with myself? Sit there and have a sandwich or chat with somebody. But that's
you get like, here comes Tony back again to talk to us. Bloody hell.
Yeah, I know. It's like, I wish you'd piss off, But that's nice, and I think you don't get tired, because it's a tiring thing, isn't it? Talking at a convention, being switched on and stuff. But such a small amount of time like that, I think you don't get time to sort of flag. Really, I think that's really, really nice. Yeah,
it's good. And although Rick did seem to keep appearing with a full glass of beer, so I don't know where he was going.
Oh, excellent.
Good lad.
Perhaps he just didn't drink it. Perhaps he only had one.
Yeah, but he just held it just to make an impact. It was for 4 hours.
It was warm, very warm beer.
I don't know how you make a pint last 4 hours. Go be fucking superhuman.
Yeah, but I was all right, man. We had a good time. Apart from they closed the M4 on the way back.
Oh God,
that was fun.
God. Yeah, so it took us about 5 hours to get back. But
oh my God.
Yeah, luckily I'm very good company. You know what I mean? That's the thing.
That's what you think, Tony.
Yeah.
Last time I came to see you. Last time I was saying to you, Vince, they'd shut off one of the main roads, and I had to take all the A roads and stuff, and it took me like an extra two and a bit hours. It's horrible.
Oh God.
But just shit happens.
Yeah. It's all right.
Shit happens.
Yes, I'm really glad it went well. I was just gutted that I couldn't make it. I was just like,
That sucks.
Yeah. So put that to.
It's made me rethink like stock, because I was working the day before, so I was away for 2 nights.
Yeah.
I sort of had to sort of throw a load of stuff into a suitcase, and I always have this thing. Oh, I'm just going to take this. That'll be all right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we sort of run out of stuff, so I'll have to sort of rethink
Yeah.
Nottingham, I suppose, now. But
What are you going to take? Reprints needed, you think? We got enough stock?
We won't get them in time, but yeah, I think we've probably between us, we've probably got enough. We obviously had the new book out, but our new sort of Tijuana Bible thing.
Yes.
So that was quite fun. I'll get you a copy, guys. But it addresses issues. It's a new way of reviewing comics. Let's just call it that.
Okay. Look forward to it.
Featuring Keith Cumber.
Oh God.
Any resemblance to a person in my head? Purely coincidental.
Yeah,
it's all right, Keith. He loves it. As soon as you say I can put you in a comic, yes, he's like, yes, go on, let's do it. Make it worse.
So I'm also informed as we're going to segue into our topics and stuff. You've got us an appetizer of sorts, haven't you, T? An animal quiz.
Oh yeah, nicely done. He's the hostess mood, the mostest, aren't you today?
I love it. I love
Let
it.
me get the quiz.
They do a little bit of a segue, and they're not fully confident in it because there was a pause. Like,
I wonder what you. I wonder what you was going on about there
right?
for a second, but yeah.
Yes, we are now. Well done, Dan. Well done.
Well, when you're not here doing the host, like when it's been me and Tony, that's the entire fucking bit, isn't it? Because we're doing this now. Yeah. All right.
What are we doing now? Okay, so running on from the fact that Helena has had a book out called Clear Run, which is a favourite of ours, which features a certain dog and all this sort of thing. So we thought we'd do a little quiz about animals in comics. So let me explain it to you. I'm going to give you the first name of a comics animal character. And what I want you to do is to tell me what kind of animal it is. Here's an example. If I said to you, Raphael, you might say, Dan?
A turtle. Teenage
There you go.
Mutant Turtles.
And you'd be right. 1 point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Feel free to play along at home, by the way, everyone.
Yeah, please play along at home. I'm also prepared now. It'll start quite easy and there's some more difficult ones, but most of it's pretty easy, to be fair. And there's the opportunity to get a clue, if I can think of one, if you're not quite sure. Okay?
I'll get a bit of paper to do scores.
Yeah, I'll do this. So you do the scores, Dan.
Okay.
Help me do the questions.
Don't fluff the numbers, Butcher. Don't fluff the numbers.
No. How dare you, sir?
Somebody will only call us on it, won't they?
Yeah,
That's the thing. Yeah. Right. Okay. So, should we go, ladies first? 8.
Yes.
Oh God.
So
I told you I'm very, very, very poor at quizzes. But go on.
I promised you I'd give you the answers. I never did. Sucked you there, didn't I?
Traitor.
Okay. The first one is called Streaky. What kind of animal is Streaky?
Oh, I'm gonna say a pig.
No, I'm going to offer it over to the others.
Oh.
Streaky. Fuck.
Streaky.
I don't.
Pass. I don't know.
I don't know. Like, I was going to say pig and thought it would have been something like the Beano or Dandy or something like that, but no.
Streaky the Super Cat.
Oh,
Bloody hell.
There you go.
Where's that
That's
from?
a new one on me.
Superman comics.
Oh, okay.
Who reads them? Oh.
All the cool kids. Next up, who would like to go first? Dan, how about you?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Miyamoto. The first name of this person.
That'd be a rabbit.
Yeah, well done. So it's his full name, because everyone thinks he's called Usagi Yojimbo, which is not his name.
No.
His actual name is Miyamoto Usagi.
Yes.
Named after the famous samurai, and he is a rabbit. Well done. So 1 to you, Dan.
Yes.
Vince. Yep.
Rex.
Oh, fucking how generic can you get? What the
Rex.
fuck, man? That could be a dog.
Well done. It is a dog. Rex.
there you
Rex
go.
the Wonder Dog. There we go. Back to Helena.
I can't believe I got that right.
Well done. So we were on a draw. Vince down a one each, and Helena's still to get off the mark.
CH, you don't need to know it, just guess.
Yeah.
I thought I was on a good number with Streaky Pig. But,
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Next one, Helena. Beppo. Beppo. Beppo.
I know this one.
I do know this one, and oh God, is he?
Don't forget, you can be offered clues on this. Don't forget, if you don't know it.
Yeah. Could I have a clue, please?
Created by, he first appeared in Superman 75 in 1959 and was created by Otto Binder and George Papp.
Oh God.
I helped you out.
Shit. I'm gonna say a bear.
No, it's Monkey.
Oh,
Beppo the super monkey from Krypton. Okay.
I always
Alright.
just wondered about that, like the thinking. Oh, sales are flagging a bit. I'll just put in them fucking.
Pretend there's a monkey came in its own
Just
spaceship.
put-
I mean, they're
just
all
put an
dying
alien
on
monkey in
Krypton.
it, then.
Yeah,
They're all dying on Krypton. What we're going to do? I'll let the monkey escape.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good idea. Isn't it?
Someone
Yeah.
from Krypton went off with a fucking arc somewhere, took care of everything.
Imagine Krypton blows up and you call your dog Crypto. Seems
Yeah.
a bit insensitive.
It's like, that's called my hamster, George Michael. Right, next is
Jesus.
no, I wouldn't call him that. It'd be rude. Okay, who's next? Oh, it's Dan, isn't it?
Dan.
Me, yeah.
Lockjaw. And I'm going to ask for the specific breed on this because it's quite easy otherwise.
It's kind of like she is kind of like a space kind of pug kind of thing. It's not a pug. It's a French bulldog.
It's a bulldog. Well done. Yeah.
Dan's noise of like.
Fucking got one in. Fucking eat my goal.
Vince, Lockheed.
Oh, well, this is Lockheed's a dragon.
A dragon. Well done.
Yeah.
Yeah, one for you. Yeah, can for a bonus point. Can
I'm
anyone?
glad that we're finally acknowledging that dragons are real animals.
Yeah.
they are. I'm
They are.
Welsh, and I know these things. So
for a bonus point, can anyone tell me the issue of Uncanny X-Men it first appeared?
273.
No. Lower.
174.
No. Lower. Helena?
H.
145.
No. 166.
Oh,
Okay.
We were all
Okay,
guessing that one. None of us had it.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Next one is back to Helena. Zabu. Zabu. Zabu.
I know this one.
is it a ferret?
No, but nice guess. Can I offer it out?
It's a saber-toothed tiger who hangs around
It
with
is.
Kazar.
Kazar, exactly. Well done.
Hold on.
Thanks,
How
Dan.
come we're offering them out now? We didn't do that in the previous rounds. Do rules mean nothing to you people?
No, playing
All right,
it.
fair
Yeah.
Uh,
Next one is
prison rules, Vince.
it's Dan now.
Really?
Topo. Topo.
I think it's a horse.
No.
No.
I can offer it out to
Okay.
anyone?
Topo.
Yeah.
I don't
There
know.
is a clue.
Can we have a clue, please?
You can, yeah. Used to hang out with Aquaman and was created by Ramona Freedon in Adventure Comics 229.
Badger.
Badger? Why would he have a badger in?
With a C.
Topo the badger. We need
I'll have what
that
Helena's
art.
drinking.
We need that art, people. We need that art. I'm going to say dolphin.
No, he was a squid.
I would have gone for dolphin.
Yeah.
Did you? Yeah.
I almost
okay.
went for bear until we got the clue.
Yeah.
But even then,
Gein.
H was like, fuck it, I'm saying badger.
But fuck it.
You're right.
So, what was the last one? Ferret. Has she got a thing for like little
I got-
furry animals that live in her hedgerow?
Well, she's friends with you. Right, okay.
That's
what
true.
have we got?
Well, say no more.
The next one is Hugin and Munin. This is for you, Vince. Hugin and Munin.
Fuck me.
What?
They're always together.
Why have I got what?
Yeah. Don't forget there's a clue.
I'd definitely go have the clue.
Yeah,
Vince.
got to have the clue, yeah.
First appeared in Thor 274.
Why
created
do you
by
think
Roy
that's
Thomas
a clue
and
that
John
would mean
Buscema.
it? Why do you think that's not a
Because
clue?
it
That's
is a
you
clue,
showing
you'll
off
find
about
out-
things that you
You'll
know.
find out in a
Right.
minute why it's a clue.
It's got to be a mythological beast, hasn't it?
Well done, Dan.
If it's a mythological beast, it could be anything.
There's two of them, Hugin and Munin.
I'm
just going to say
maybe they could draw a chariot. I don't know. I'm not saying that's the
I was
case.
about to say a horse.
No, can offer this one out.
Unicorns.
Where do
no,
unicorns appear in Asgardian?
I'll tell you what though. She went for it then. I
Yeah,
saw
just
it.
go for it. Yeah.
Winged horse. I don't know.
No, Helena, do you want to have a guess? Oh, you've had a guess at
Oh,
unicorns.
That's, yeah, unicorns.
horse.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the kind of thing they'd have in Asgard.
You should know this one. They're ravens.
Oh,
Yeah.
of course they are.
Who's next? I've forgotten who's next. Helena.
Helena, yeah. Vince has had one.
Okay. Tippy toe. Tippy toe.
Tippy toe.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
And I'm not sure if it will help, but I think this is definitely up your street.
Oh god.
Bearing in mind the names
Give
you've already been shouting.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is it? Give me a clue.
It was created by Dan Slott for a character that appeared in Great Lakes Avengers #4 in 2005, and it appeared as the sidekick to a female character in her own solo series.
Okay.
I know what this is.
As soon as you said that, I know.
Is it a stoat?
They usually come in two colours in this country. One of them is an invasive species.
Yes, that's right.
Just like when Dan Slott was thinking, right, I need Marvel have asked me, we need something that says merch. Right.
Yeah.
What's this t-shirt's better than stoat?
Yeah. So first they came up with, what about a polecat? And he said, no, I don't like the Polish over here. What about a stoat? Yeah. No. Yeah. Good try, H. Probably the funniest try so far. Well done. Anyone else want to? I'm going to offer this one out.
Squirrel.
We know this one, don't we? Yeah.
Squirrel. Yeah, squirrel.
Oh god.
You both knew that. So you get what? You got half point each, Dan and Vince.
Hang on,
Okay.
he didn't even say it.
No.
Yeah, but he did just before you said it. He said it's there's two colours in this country of it.
To be fair, he did. He did.
Yeah.
No, I'll give it
You're
to
getting
Vince
half point.
because
Yeah.
he gave the answer.
And Dan's
Okay.
Dan's been
We're
taking down
free-
the scores, and he knows he's won by 4.
Yeah, he's already won. He's already won.
Me and Vince are drawn on 3-3.
Oh, okay. Right.
So that's
Next
all to
one.
play
Who's
for.
next? It's you, Dan. It's you, Dan, isn't it?
Yes.
Puddle gulp.
Oh fuck.
Weevil.
Weevil. Is that
A frog. A frog.
Well done, it is a frog. Yeah.
Oh, fucking hell!
Oh.
So, Puddle Gulp was the real name of Throg. Do you remember Throg, which was the frog that became Thor
Oh yes.
in Walt Simonson's run? Actually, a man called Simon Walterson, which was a play on Walter Simonson, and appeared firstly in Thor 364.
There you go.
Yeah. Vince.
Yes.
Old lace. Now I will take. You won't need to specify the type or breed, let's call it, of this particular kind of creature, but they're called old lace, also known as a shortening in OL. And there is a clue.
I'll have a clue, please.
First appeared in Runaways issue 2 and was in quite a lot of those issues.
Oh God, yeah, it had to be the one series that I've never really been interested in. Sorry, Runaways fans. It's dog.
No, it was a dinosaur. First off, it was described as a Vesoloraptor, whatever they're called, but it was actually a Deinonychus dinosaur. And do you remember the one of the girls had like a little dinosaur used to run around with her? It was on some of the covers. That was Old Lace.
Wow. Okay.
Good. Back to Helena. Hairball.
So I'm immediately going to say a cat.
Well done. It is a cat.
Fuck me. I got one.
You got one.
It's a bonus mark for anyone who can tell me where it first appeared and who created it.
I cannot answer that
I
question.
don't know, but it sounds like one of their characters from one of Rob Liefeld's teams.
Well, it's called Hairball. So there's a little clue for you. By someone who also created a character associated with spiders.
What? Stan Lee?
No. Okay, you're not going to get this. It's Steve
No.
Ditko. Steve
I
Ditko.
was just about to say that.
Yeah. So
Okay, well, can you say the series, Dan, for a point?
Hairball. Web of Spider-Man. I don't know.
I was just
Speedball.
Oh,
It was
fuck,
Speedball's
of course.
cat.
I kept on thinking New Warriors. I was like, no. I should have said that. I would have got a point.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, now to you. Who's it next? It's you, Dan, isn't it?
Yes, it is me.
Hip Flask. The name of the character is
I know
Hip
this one.
Flask.
It's the only one I actually know.
There is a clue available.
Can I have the clue, please, T?
He appears in a comic, or graphic novel, or a series of comics that I bought you two and Tom at Thought Bubble.
No, you fuck me.
Well, no, he's asking the questions.
I'm a fair distance from you, you know.
That won't stop you.
You have to be closer.
Very virile.
I'm done. No, I don't. Past Magnus Magnuson. I don't know that one.
You do know this. You do know it. What did I buy you at Thought Bubble?
I'm blanking.
It was signed by someone opposite.
Oh, shit.
No, it wasn't that. That wasn't available.
He's a hippo.
Oh, I tell you what. I'm not going to say that this is fixed.
Well, no, that's not fixed because technically because the book was called Elephant Men.
Yeah, I know.
And he was a hippo.
And I know he was a hippo, but you gave him all the track in the world to run with that.
See what happens, Helena? They get really competitive. This is what happens.
Well, we got the quiz coming up. We're kind of
we haven't got an opponent yet, have we?
No one's stepping up. No one's stepping up.
I'm scared, aren't they?
I can understand why.
Vince?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Come on, Vince.
Okay. Nosy.
Oh, fucking really?
I think this animal's already been mentioned.
A
A little
dog.
clue for you. No? I'll give you one more go because you clearly brooding over that
anteater.
last one. No.
I was going to.
You were going to say an anteater.
Sorry.
Honestly.
You have to go with your second choice, which is probably I don't know, otter or something.
We're getting closer. We're getting closer.
Is it a badger?
No, we're almost there.
I really wish it was a badger.
Stoat.
So near. I'm going to give you one more, Helena. Yes, it's a ferret. It's Nosy the Ferret, who is a sidekick of a character called the Ferret in Marvel Mystery Comics. There you go. Next up, who's it? It's back to you now, isn't it? H.
Yeah.
Cosmo.
Oh.
There is a clue.
Oh, yeah. Go on.
The character is in fact Soviet and first appeared in Nova, Volume 4, Number 8, and was created by Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning.
Is it a penguin?
Oh.
I fucking wish it
Are
was.
you on ecstasy?
I tell you what, every single one of H's sort of
There's so much huge
suggestions
enthusiasm.
should be these characters. I tell you what, here's a challenge to all the listeners. Take every single one of her answers and turn them into a team. Turn them into a team.
A penguin with his sidekick ferret.
But every time you say it, I kind of feel that you know it because you say it with such confidence, and it's always wrong.
It's
brilliant.
my life. I say everything with such confidence because then I think I'm right.
The best one was unicorns. Fucking awesome.
Can I offer this one out? Anyone?
Dog.
Dog is a dog. Well done. Yeah, a dog. Cosmo the space dog. Soviet space dog, wasn't he? Do you remember? He was in.
Of course.
I think he's actually in one of the Garden of the Galaxies movies, isn't he? In the background.
And he's going to be in the next one, I think. Apparently.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Cool.
There you go.
Next up is Dan, and there's four creatures. There's four creatures in this one. They're called Clint, Chuck, Bruce, and Jackie. Here's a clue.
Can I have the clue, please, T?
They were good at martial arts, and they appeared post Turtles. Around that period, they had a 3D special.
Oh fuck! Hedgehogs.
No, afraid not. Can I offer that one out?
What were their names again?
Clint, Chuck, Bruce, and Jackie.
They're rip-offs of fucking TMNT.
Yeah. Helena, you can shout an animal if you like as well.
It's killing me not to shout something stupid.
Please do. It's vastly improving this quiz for me.
Flamingos.
No, almost. Almost.
Oh god, because it's not Battletoads, is it? Because they were.
No,
that's a bit later, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a little bit later. Oh, they are
Mice. Is it mice?
No, I'm afraid not.
No.
Guinea
There's only 3 of
pigs.
them.
They're
You're so close.
Oh,
keep,
God.
keep shouting things, Helena.
Hang
You'll
on,
get it.
they're fucking
Rats.
No, keep going.
No.
hamsters.
Yay! Hamsters.
Yes,
They were adolescent radioactive black belt hamsters.
I
to be
remember that. Yeah,
specific.
it was a parody,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And the last one of the quiz, everyone's very excited. Gleek. This is you, Vince. Gleek.
Gleek.
There's a quiz. There's a clue available.
Well, of course, there's gonna. Yeah, I will have the clue.
Appeared. It didn't appear in a comic originally. Appeared in the Super Friends cartoon series.
Oh, really?
Mm.
It's gonna be wrong, but I'm gonna say a fish.
It's Space Monkey.
Too many monkeys.
Yeah,
Blue Space Monkey. Yeah.
classic.
And I did have a final one, so let's throw the final one out. See if we can get it quickest.
All right, let's make this interesting.
Okay.
Right, let's bring H back into the game as well.
This is
Whoever-
winner takes all.
Winner takes all. Because
Oh, okay.
Me and
Oh,
you
no
are drawn on
chance then.
5 here, Vince.
yeah.
5 apiece.
Oh,
So-
really? I thought you smashed
Yeah.
it. I thought.
No.
Okay.
Uh,
That's why we're perfect tag team, then. Go on.
Yeah. Match your man and me.
I've got 2 choices here. I'm just trying to think. One's really obvious. They're both sort of really obvious ones. Bucky.
Pigeon.
Bucky.
Oh God, that made me jump.
Sorry.
A bear. I don't
No.
know.
He's a rabbit.
No.
Hare.
Yay! Bucky O'Hare.
hell-
Fuck.
Bucky
As soon as I
O'Hare.
said,
Fucking-
oh.
Fucking what?
Well done, Helena. You are the champion.
Well done, champ. That's how it rolls.
Hell. Consider I was really flailing there, wasn't I? Wasn't very good.
The other one I was going to give out was Spider Ham, but that's too easy, isn't it?
Oh, yeah,
Spider ham. Spider ham.
Peter Porker.
Yeah.
Peter
Peter Porker. Spectacular Spider Ham.
Yep.
Oh,
Well done, everyone. Proud of you.
My
It's a fun
God.
one, wasn't it?
gosh.
I didn't realise that Helena had Tourette's, but that's.
Oh, did I not tell you?
You know now.
Bastard.
Bucky the pigeon.
Oh dear.
Honestly, I literally physically jumped away from the microphone.
I'm gonna hazard a guess that she had the animal before you heard the question.
I know. Yeah, she's singing, whatever it is, I'm going to shout pigeon. Whatever he says. Jeremy, pigeon.
Oh dear.
Tony, you got to create a character called Jeremy Pigeon now.
Jeremy
Oh
the
god, I
pigeon.
can do that. I'll do that.
Oh God. Oh God.
Oh
God.
dear.
There you go. Good. Well
Anyway.
done, everyone. Proud of you.
From that amount of fun, and we hope that you lovely people out there did better than
Did better than me.
God, I'm good. Die.
You won.
Yeah.
I know,
Yeah.
but that was just a fluke. That was just a fluke at the end.
I think we just got hustled then, Dan.
Yeah, man. Get done.
Yeah, completely.
Oh.
But yes, from that sort of fun involving Tony, how long did it take you to look up all of those?
I know, yeah. That's some research, that.
I had quite a few tabs open on that one. It's quite fun because the problem with animals is they're always named after. So it was like Spider Ham. You know, it's clearly a pig. Or the full name for Bucky was Bucky O'Hare.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So you know it's
yeah, of
air.
course.
So you have to. It's actually a pain because you have to go through all these creatures and find them when their name doesn't have anything to do with
Do you think that's
Brian
changed?
the snail or something. Yeah.
Do you think that's changed? And we're just going to jump straight into the topic now about animals in comics. Do you think that's sort of changed over the years? Because obviously, in the past, in history, a lot of names have been shortcuts, haven't they, to character? You know, especially with superheroes, it's always a
Porky or something like that.
yeah, something like that. Do you think there's less of a chance you'll see that in like modern comics now?
I actually think that animals crossed with something else are an easy go-to for what people think kids like. Do you know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
So sort of skiing chicken, or you know what I mean,
Yeah.
rocket monkey, or something like that. I think it's kind of like an easy. Oh, I've got to do a kids comic, which would be about animals.
Well,
you know,
I guess it's easier for kids to
Kung
kind
Fu
of
Panda. You know,
project themselves onto animals as opposed to. Would you say that's the case? Other kids? Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Obviously, little Billy running around the screen. It's like, well, there's a a chipmunk there. I can sort of
Yeah, it's something they can relate to, isn't it? Really.
yeah.
I think that's the thing as well. We're bearing in mind the sort of diverse community of people that read comics. You know, it's having. If it was a kid, you'd have to sort of would this put us this sort of group of kids off, you know, whatever. But if it's an animal, it's not racial, it's not national. You know, there's nothing like
that's
that.
true. Yeah.
I mean, what do you think about that? Like, I find that modern comics is kind of changing a little bit. Do you think, like, obviously anthropomorphic is usually the go-to, isn't it? I think for a lot of people because maybe, although they're very difficult to do if you ask me, because you have to get the sort of animal likeness as well as the actual physical sort of humanoid characteristics as well.
Yeah, because you've got to do that thing where, like you do with a human, you've got to get that weight in, haven't you? The weight in the body and stuff, especially if they're battling and they're fighting or they're doing something. It's difficult to try and, like you say, anthropomorphize them into sort of, moving in the same way as a human, whether they be up on their feet, their back legs, so to speak, or if they're still on all fours. It's quite a challenge, I think, to be honest.
I think the personalities are attributed to different animals, aren't they, as well? That's the problem. I think there's almost like a cliche to what, a chipmunk or a panda or something is going to be.
Yeah, a snake is going to be a bad guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think in some ways, obviously one of the classic go-tos is the Ninja Turtles, of course. And they're one of the things that kind of broke the mold a little bit. Because, I mean, obviously, if any artist doing them, back to your point about like the way that they move and stuff, they have like a hard shell. Do you know what I mean? There's no you can't draw a turtle with a six-pack, really.
No,
because it wouldn't work like that. Do you know what I mean? But I mean, if you did them actually sort of anatomically sort of correct, they probably look like little dumpy characters.
In the first issue, they are more like kind of tortoises kind of thing. They've got kind of more extended arms, whereas nowadays they're fucking jacked up with like huge.
They're roided up now, don't they?
Yeah. But that I think also, like when they're creating those, that it's such a blank template, isn't it? That you can impose a character onto it. But more to the point of like, people see a dog character, they immediately think, well, dog, man's best friend. Do you know what I mean? Or like you say, they see a snake, the snake's going to be the bad guys. Do you think that's a difficult thing to people to get away from? Do you think we'll ever see, and people will obviously scream at their iPods, but like a snake hero, for instance? Do you think has anyone done anything like that?
I'm just trying to think what. So the thing is that anthropomorphism isn't just for kids comics. That's what I think as well. I think there's a lot going on, especially with the sort of underground movement. When you had stuff like Mouse, completely. But you also had stuff like Het Cats as well. In the 80s. You had
Fritz,
Omaha the Cat,
Black Sabbath,
Omaha the Cat Dancer, which is just erotic anthropomorphic comics. Snake. Maybe it's a difficult one to have in a suit, isn't it? Snake. They do actually in Black Sad, don't they? In the last one, there was a villain who was a snake.
Black Sad also uses like the different creatures in interesting ways, isn't it? Like the white polar bear.
They're far right, weren't they? They're white nationalists.
Like the rat is a sort of, his personality is a bit ratty and he's sort of, a bit smelly and You're
interesting. Yeah, it does. It kind of every every animal comes loaded with like the character you think they're gonna be. Like if it's gonna be noble king, like you're gonna go for a lion. If you want someone a bit shady, like you said, you'd do a rat.
But subverting expectations is always a good thing to try for, isn't it? Sometimes and I think we don't see that much in anthropomorphism.
I think it'd be hard to pull off, but I think it possibly could be done. There you go, there's a market there, isn't there? What have you got to do something now? Yeah. It's
like in Usagi Yojimbo, the bats are the ninjas and stuff like that. It's quite a good shortcut to personality, isn't it?
How do you think...
interesting. I'd say because culturally, different animals would represent different things to different parts of the world. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, when you think about rats then, because rats are sort of revered, aren't they, in India and so you're absolutely right. It'll be a cultural thing as well as what animal do they worship? And they would see it very differently to other parts of the world.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a big thing like that, aren't they?
Have you had pigs in certain parts of the world absolutely fucking hated, like they think they're dirty creatures, whereas others not. So it depends. I imagine if I made a comic about a pig, it wouldn't really exactly go down. Not like people in the Middle East going to be really bothered by that.
I really want to know what comic you do about a pig, Dan.
I don't know.
Do you remember that manga I read where everyone in the town was turned into a pig and it was just like really frightening?
Yeah.
That's I can't stop thinking about that one.
But like with that in mind, how is that? Because obviously, when a lot of people choose to do animals, they'll go for the anthropomorphic route. But if you actually choose to do a story about like the animal as it is, not a humanoid, not a person, the actual real animal, how much harder is it to get the emotions across, get the story across? And like H, obviously with like Clear Run, you had your lovely dog front and center, that beautiful boy.
Life model.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But obviously, like, it's the way a character looks in a comic conveys the emotion, and like, you know, we're constantly talking about like emotive storytelling, what a figure does. It's different when it's an animal, isn't it? Like, what were the challenges you had with that book, like, and the work that went into it?
Yeah, I think because he is a naturally emotive dog anyway. He's got a lot of expressions about him, so that helps. In what, you know, because some animals they just have one look about them, don't they? That's difficult to try and get like an emotion across.
I know some humans like that, to be fair.
Well, that's to be fair. But because he is like that, and you can tell when he's, you know, especially when we first got him and he was really, really anxious, and he just had this constant look of anxiety about him. So that was really easy to capture. But the other side of it as well is, I think there are sort of moments where he's on his own and you're able to sort of determine what kind of mood he's in. But I think a lot of the mood is also conveyed with what's going on around him as well. And that also helps in what kind of environment he's in. And then add that to that a little bit of text. That also helps to put things across as well. So just in isolation, it could be quite difficult unless there's something around that generates how you think that dog is feeling. So, you know, stuck in an empty cage, you know, lying on the floor or on a racetrack and things like that, then helps that emotion, I think, to put across. Because it's difficult. I mean, you'll know from the book, it is kind of cartoonified in a way, but not overly cartoony. So it was difficult to sort of, I couldn't give him like a massive raised eyebrows, things like that, because that's not how he is. Or a pipe. Or some plugs or something, you know. But it's hard, and there were times when I thought that the sort of the look that he's got about him in that particular panel isn't working. It's not the kind of thing I'm trying to get across there. So if I couldn't get it across, then I'd use other people around him to put it across, and then that little bit of explanatory text in it as well. So that I think that all helps to sort of put across what you're trying to say, really.
Yeah,
but it's difficult.
I think the thing is as well, to me, almost like his situation and his almost sort of pensive. He has sad eyes on occasion.
Oh, constantly, you know?
I think it almost dictated the narrative in a way. I know it's a real, true life story, so but it conveys mood and vibe and situational, you know, emotion and stuff like that as well with him. That's why I think I liked it so much. I'm such a sucker for the. I mean, I think I've told you before, H. I can't even watch movies that have got dogs in it. Upsets me too much. You know, we're both very dog lovers, aren't we? But I think I like, you know, he's got such a personality, but there's a sadness behind him there somewhere as well.
Yeah. And I think that was the thing that drove me to actually do the comic, is because when I first started, I didn't really know where I was going with it. I was just noodling with it, and I was just trying to have a go at drawing him in a cartoon kind of way, and I didn't know where to take it really. And then I thought, well, he's got a story behind him here. He's got a real life story, which could have been a huge story, but you know, I had to cut it down for obvious reasons. So he's got a really big backstory behind him, and then it was just going to be him. And then I thought, well, actually, we've got a backstory as well about how we got him, you know. So I thought, well, why not put the whole lot together as, you know, his story, our story, independently, and then our story when we got him, you know, and how he was in a house. So yeah, I think the backstory probably also helps to convey that kind of sort of anxiety and sadness about him, really. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. God, I've got something in my eye again. That comic yours.
It's another thing, like, because also with the animals, like, you projected on them like an innocence and kind of, do you know what I mean? It's hard to describe.
We do imprint ourselves onto dogs, don't
Yes.
we?
Yeah.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's,
Totally,
they convey, and I think that's what it is, and it, that the redemptive story you've got of the dog, finally finding happiness. I mean, dog races is a fucking awful sport.
Oh, it's awful. It's absolutely terrible. I didn't know a lot about it, to my shame. I didn't, because obviously I didn't know, but we weren't kind of in the market for ever getting a dog for a long, long time because of working and commuting and stuff. And it was only when I got chatting with somebody about greyhounds, and they said, "Oh, they make fantastic pets, but they have very terrible starts in life." And then when I started doing my research, I was horrified with the kind of lives they lead. And then we researched him after we got him, and I wished I hadn't researched it. It was just horrible, But then I like to think, well, hopefully, I mean, I don't know how dogs' brains work, but hopefully he's forgotten all that now. He won't have any recollection of it, kind of thing.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's a horrible sport full of trashy people. That's what I'm going to put that out there, because it is awful. And they're sort of, their ears are tattooed, and
yes,
this
he's
sort
got
of thing.
2 tattoos. Yeah.
Poor fella.
Oh, that's messed up.
Yeah. But I think the best thing one of the best things we've talked about before is the fact that your comic should make people want to go and get a rescue dog.
Oh yeah,
was that a big part of the reasoning for you doing it?
Yeah. It's that thing of there's always a hashtag of adopt, don't shop, isn't it? About and don't get me wrong, I'm not judging people for getting a puppy, from scratch. It's not my place to judge people on that. But we'd always been in the market. If we weren't in the market for a dog for a long time, but when we did decide to do it, I wanted a rescue.
Yeah,
I wanted to give a dog another chance, because they're often in a home for reasons of, say, that the family can't afford them anymore, or the family's died, or the owner's died, or whatever. I thought, we'll give them another chance. And I thought, this is giving a dog a chance that's never been in a home, and that's why they warn you when they go into homes. And you'll see from the comic how it's a kind of, they warn you, say they don't know what a television is, they don't know what a washing machine is or a kettle, so they're going to walk around the house and maybe be a little bit nervous about all these noises. What the hell are these noises? And sometimes they take a very, very long time to settle. So it's another, I don't want to sound like we got him because it was a challenge. Far from it. We got him because we wanted to love him and give him some love. And he gives back love, tenfold.
Who was the organisation you got him from? Was it?
We actually got him from Manchester and Cheshire Dogs Home.
Right. Okay. Do they come and inspect you? Because I know the dog, when we've had a few dogs through the Dogs Trust, they come and inspect your house and stuff like that. Do they come around? Or?
Well, what happened was we got him in 2020 in the September, but it was when we were still, in the deepest throes of the pandemic. Yeah. So we had to make an appointment. Normally you could just turn up. So we had to make an appointment and go and see him and go and visit him. And then we had to go again a second time to visit him. Yeah. And then they normally come to your house and do a visit, but we did a virtual visit. So we went round the house with our phone and videoed and had a live chat with them.
Oh, nice.
So they could look at our garden, because obviously greyhounds can run fast and they can jump. So they had to make sure we had high walls. He wasn't going to, get himself into a bit of a pickle. Exactly. Yeah. So we did a virtual
did Damien
thing.
Get dressed? Did he get dressed for that? Video,
no, did it in his underpants. No.
Yeah, good. Yeah, good.
So I'm amazed we still got the dog, to be quite frank.
I'm surprised you haven't got 3 dogs.
Oh my god.
But yeah, they did this virtual sort of look around, and then the third visit was the visit that we got to take him home. Instead of him coming out to meet us again, he came out and never went back in. He got in the car. It's like, he's coming home with us, But he'd gone to Manchester and Cheshire Dogs Home, the Cheshire version, because there's one in Manchester and one in Warrington. Okay. And he'd finished racing in the August, and he was in Ireland initially. And he's very, very lucky to have escaped Ireland, because normally when they finish racing in Ireland, I've been told, I don't know if it's true or not, I've been told that they hang them once they're done.
No, I've read this. They cut their ears off so they can't be discovered.
Yeah,
it's awful.
So they shipped him over to Yorkshire, and I think he raced in Yorkshire for a little bit, and then he'd finished there because he wasn't winning races anymore, and they brought him to Warrington, and he wouldn't get out of the van because he was that frightened. They dumped him there, and he'd only been there for a few weeks, and then we came along and brought him home. So it was a happy ending for. I mean, it was, don't get me wrong, the homes treat them wonderfully. They treat them so well, and he was he loved his owners, his handlers. They had a real good relationship with him.
That's nice. So what point did you think it'd be nice to do a comic about this? And what was the reason why?
Yeah, well, it was I'd kind of at the beginning of the pandemic. I won't waffle on, I promise. But at the beginning of the pandemic, it was I'd lost my job at the beginning, and it was just really terrible time. And the pandemic started, I lost my job, and I thought, oh Christ, So anyway, for that period of time, I was working constantly on commissions. It worked out really well insofar as I was, don't get me wrong, it wasn't paying the mortgage, but it was certainly, putting some money in the bank.
Yeah.
So I was like really sort of snowed under with the commissions, which was really steady and that was really good. And then up into 2021, I kind of completely lost my mojo. I just fell completely flat. You know, when you get really sort of stagnant and stale. And I thought, Christ, I couldn't get my mojo back. And then it was working on DUI 1 with Alan Henderson, and working on that really pushed me out of my comfort zone and got me back into sort of doing comics, because I did like 3 pages.
That was a great story. Really good.
It was good. Alan wrote a really nice story for that. And don't get me wrong, I found it quite difficult because it doesn't come easy to me doing comics, I've got to say. So I found that quite difficult, but it pushed me out of my zone and I got into the flow. And I thought, this is really, really quite enjoyable. And I really, enjoyed the whole experience.
Right.
And because of that, I thought, why don't I carry on with this now? Now that I'm in this flow, let's carry on with something else. I'd already started noodling with this idea of doing something about, adopting the dog, but I didn't know where it was going to go, and I hadn't really put it. I can be a bit sort of scatterbrained like that. I don't really know where I'm going with something sometimes. So I'd started drawing things out, and I thought, you know what, I could probably make this into a comic. And I started sort of storyboarding out about, his story, our story, and then our story as a sort of family, so to speak. And then I just carried on and carried on and carried on. And then in the middle of that, I got a new job as well. So that was like, I saw that gave me a bit of a confidence boost, and I carried on and carried on. And I thought, this is great. I thought, I'm going to kickstart this. So I was going to put it on Kickstarter. And I got it all finished, got it all lettered, got it all compiled, sorted out my tiers. I thought, right, I know what I'm going to do for me tiers. I'm going to do a pet portrait commission tier, and that I thought that'll be great, and I'll really enjoy fulfilling that. Got it all ready. And then I got diagnosed with cancer. And I thought, mate,
I didn't realise that was
okay. So I thought, I tell you what I'll do. I'll carry on with it because it'll be a way to, distract me and I can work on this and do the fulfillments. But then I didn't know what path I was going to go down. And well, as you guys will know from, I'm sure you all know people, the first thing you think about is I'm going to die? That's the first thing you think. And the second one is kind of, how sick am I going to get? And I thought, I can't commit to this. What if I commit to it and I get really sick and I can't do the fulfillments? Because as weird as that sounds, I wasn't thinking of myself. I was thinking, oh God, what if I can't do the fulfillments? What if I can't, it's like, why am I
so much
like
going
that?
on in your head, I'm guessing.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't always think of myself. I think about other people and think, shit, how am I going to do this? So I thought, I'm not going to do this because I'm really frightened that I'm not going to be able to do the, the commissions and stuff like that. And I'm really glad I didn't now, because I ended up having to go in for surgery in the November and surgery in the December and surgery in the January, and just because they couldn't get it out. So, and I couldn't draw either because our studio is up in the loft and I couldn't get up the ladders because I couldn't move my arm. So, and not only that, not only could I not draw, I just didn't have the frame of mind. It was the last thing I wanted to do was sit and draw, because I was in so much pain. So I kind of basically, I mothballed it. I completely mothballed it. Didn't think anything, more of it. And then, of course, I lost my mojo again. And then thanks to Tony doing DIY 2, I got my mojo back. So that kind of got me back into
the encouragement I gave you of writing filth.
Absolutely. But it's these little things, because I thought, what am I going to do? I don't know how to get myself back into the mojo of it, because I didn't have any, because for me, I need to have something to do. I can't just sit and, well, I can do now, but I couldn't at the time. I just couldn't sit and noodle something. I needed something, some goal, some aim.
Yes.
Okay. And the aim was to do, so it's to do that DIY, which really, really got my mojo back again. And then
it's good for your mental health, isn't it?
It's fantastic for the mental health.
Succeeding in goals and stuff like that, I think is
absolutely.
Definitely,
It was just, it just took me away from, because obviously I was still going through treatment at that point. So, and I was exhausted and tired and all the usual stuff. So that kind of took my mind off things. And then I got, I did a page for David Robertson for Reject All. So I did a page for him.
And I think that's coming out this week, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So that was really good.
Yeah.
And then I kind of got back into the whole flow of it all again, and I've not stopped. I've not stopped since then. But then, basically, I started working on this other one that's just come out now. And in the interim, Damien said to me, "What are you going to do with that dog book?" Because at the time, I'd like noodled with a name for it, and then I ended up changing the name. And I went, I don't know. I completely mothballed it. And he said, "I think you need to bring it back to life again." So it had kind of had bad memories, really, thinking about it, because it all happened at all such a terrible time.
Yeah, it came
and I thought,
I thought,
bollocks to it. I'll put it out there, and it's been received really, really well. You know, at the end of the day, if people like it, they do. If they don't, they don't. Because I did it for me. You know, it was my kind of little project kind of thing to get me back into it. And
it's amazing, isn't it? I often think about the emotion that goes into a comic somehow comes back off it occasionally. You know, if you put in something, if you write something about something you love or something you care about, and I think kind of it's communicated often through some way, to the reader, and I think that definitely happens there. Yeah, and I think that probably, with the sort of incredibly mixed emotions and troubles that you're going through, I think the emotional content in that comic is incredibly high for a reader.
Yeah, because I suppose when I think back about when I finished it, when I kind of was coming to the end of it, I was actually going through all the tests. I was going through biopsies and things. So that probably came across in it, because I was like, I did this thing where I felt I needed to finish it, because again, I started thinking, shit, how much time have I got to finish this comic? Which I know is ridiculous, but you can't help it. That's what you think. You think, shit, am I going to still? I mean, I know, Tony, I said this to you, didn't I? I said, you asked me to collaborate, and I said the caveat is if I'm still around, if I'm still alive. It's like, but I say it as a joke. I say it tongue in cheek. But I say it, and some people look at me and go, and I go, I'm joking.
But you're doing okay now, mate. You?
Yeah, I am, thanks. Yeah, I mean, I had a bit of a scare whilst I was doing this recent comic, so I had to go for an MRI, and I had to wait for weeks and weeks and bloody weeks for it. Yeah. But anyway, it came back absolutely okay. But you just there's always that worry in there that there's something still lingering there somewhere. But that unfortunately, that's the nature of things now for the future. You always think that every headache or cough or twinge is recurrence, but you can't let that take over your life. You have to just move forward.
The thing is as well, now, because you'd mothballed that and then brought it out later, and you've obviously you've now became the single most prolific person in the small press community, and we'll expect a comic from you every month now.
I know it does
pretty
look
much
like I've been
that this year, isn't it?
It does. It looks like I've been really, really. I mean, I suppose I have been productive, really, but I mean, I have to sort of hold my hands up and say that the clear run was already done and finished and just tucked away in a box somewhere. So, it's kind of you're right. It looks like I've been working
because we had
constantly.
This year we had DUI2, like closely followed by Clear Run. And now you and literally today you've dropped the digital files out for your new one as well.
Yes.
Yes.
So how did the new one? Did you want to talk about the new one? How did that come about?
I mean, that's kind of came about because again, there was a little bit of a lull in my art mojo, I suppose, really, when I just finished like my treatment and stuff. And I was kind of just right at the end of my treatment as well. A really close friend died suddenly as well. And that kind of, really knocked the wind out of my sails. And I was feeling pretty shitty, I've got to say. You just think, oh, is there anything else going to happen? And then I was sat watching, feeling really like miserable. And I was watching this 3-part series on BBC Wales about Welsh art. And I was sat there and I went, I've got an idea. And it was something, he visited this museum that had these Celtic crosses in, like gravestone Celtic crosses. Yeah. And I thought, oh, they're really nice. And I suddenly, I don't often have this, but I suddenly had this like light bulb go on over my head. And I thought, I've got an idea. So I started jotting down these notes. And I started thinking about like Welsh folklore and Celtic folklore and stuff, because I knew some of the Welsh folklore, having, obviously I come from Wales, so it's kind of ingrained in you when you.
Sorry about
that. I know. Somebody has to. And it's
sorry,
a Celtic.
For people listening, that's just an ongoing joke between me and Helena. Yeah. Sorry. So I'm not being particularly racist for a change.
It's a Celtic cross I have to bear, I'm afraid. So, so then I thought, I'll do a bit of investigations on some of the Welsh folklore, and the fact that a lot of it is Celtic, comes from Celtic sort of stories and stuff. And I thought, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll do a bit of research, find some stories that are out in the public domain. Nobody owns these stories. They're kind of anecdotal.
Right. I wondered about this actually.
Yeah. So they're basically passed down like, centuries upon centuries. And what I did is I took some of those stories and I changed them slightly as well, just to put a bit of a twist on them, so you're not dating them. Because some of them you can date them, straight away. They go back so many years. So I've done it in such a way that you can't really date them. You couldn't really put them in. I obviously haven't put things like mobile phones in and stuff like that. And then I kind of changed them slightly, reduced them, because some of them are really long stories. You don't need all that excess in there. And then I started noodling with that, and I thought, how am I going to bring this together? Because otherwise it just would have been wouldn't have flowed from one story to another. And then I thought, what about putting them as like a case file of a Welsh sort of spooky investigator? So she's kind of, and I thought, oh, she can be a librarian by day and a spooky investigator by night. And so those are her case files that she's finding, and then she's trying to investigate them, and then she's trying to solve them. And some of them, I think, are completely unsolvable. And I thought, yeah, I'll put it together like that as a set of case files with the potential to do like a second volume of them, because there's loads of stuff out there that I could turn around and turn it into things. Because although there's been a few beast ones in there, there's more beast ones out there, and dragons, and all the usual things you'd expect in Wales and stuff. So
unicorns,
unicorns, absolutely. Stoats, the Welsh stoats.
No squirrels.
Or a pigeon, the Welsh pigeon. So that came about, and I found it very therapeutic to do. It was my way of kind of going to the studio in the evenings. I'd go into the studio sort of after radiotherapy sessions, and I'd try and get a bit done there, so I didn't just fall asleep on the sofa because I was absolutely knackered. And it was just I didn't put a deadline on it. I didn't put kind of, I've got to get this finished by this date. And because it started to flow and I started to get momentum with it, I thought, oh, I'm getting to this point now where I could potentially launch this in October, perfect spooky season kind of thing. Yeah. And I thought, I don't get me wrong, I didn't rush it to do it. It just worked out that way. And I thought, that's great. I'll launch it sort of Halloween season. And I thought, why not Kickstarter? Because I lost out on the Kickstarter for Clear Run. Why not kickstart it and then try and get it out there before Halloween so people can have it for Halloween? Well, maybe the people in the States might not be able to get it for Halloween, but certainly...
They had the digital copy, weren't they? Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, they've got the digital one. So they've got something for Halloween, and we can also launch it like properly at Nottingham. So now that, a lot of the Kickstarter people will have it by then, I can launch it in good faith. There rather than doing it, people who from Kickstarter haven't got it yet. I don't think that's very fair. So hopefully they'll have that on the Saturday. Well, we'll launch it on the Saturday and hopefully get some drive-bys. You might pick it up. Yeah,
that's turned out to be good timing, because I know you launched Clear Run at Bridlington, didn't you?
Yes, we did.
Conveniently worked that way. Yeah.
Again, it was pure convenience. Pure luck that worked out that way. It was just kind of, we got, obviously we'd booked it to go to Bridlington. That was our first convention for like 3 years, and I was like super nervous about it. And I think the nervousness was the fact that I hadn't been in sort of social contact with people, so I was worried that was I going to be able to hold a conversation with people, had I lost that kind of social thing with people. And I was nervous about being around people because I've spent so long isolating, because I had to go through so many surgeries. I couldn't be with anybody and stuff. And then there was that side of it. And I absolutely loved it. It was lovely to get back out there and be sociable with people and learn how to sort of be chatty and have that, witty repartee. To eat a sandwich out of a cup. Look, absolutely, because there's no bloody plates. Where's my plate?
Plate, Ma.
We are milking that joke. We're milking
that joke's been running for about 5 weeks now.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Now, I wondered about the way, the sort of format of it, because it's how many short stories is it? 4 or 5? I can't remember. 5, yeah. But you almost have like an intro page that looks like a page of sort of legal pad, like a but in it you have notes as well as sort of like side notes that people have added to and things you thought of as well. That's an interesting approach. How did you come about by that?
Yeah, it was kind of because I didn't want to make it too formal. And be too serious. I don't want people thinking this is dead serious, because it's not. I'm not a very serious person most of the time. I try not to be, I have my moments, but I try not to be too serious. I didn't want people thinking it was a dead serious thing, because the fact that it is just pure folklore. I mean, as with any kind of fictitious stories come from something that was true at one time, some small nuclei of a real thing, and it's blown out into something sort of fantastical. So somewhere along the way there'll be some story about a bride going missing, but that won't have been the end of it. The story that I put in there, that won't have been the end of it, kind of thing. So I wanted it to be kind of a little bit lighthearted, not too sort of because I can't write in a legal way, and I don't write like a police officer or anything like that. So I thought, write it in there, but then put sort of some handwritten notes,
like in the margin notes,
in the margins,
almost,
kind of thing. And also, it was also my way of without being sort of too condescending is also to explain some of the terminology in there as well. So, I think in one of them I said a cudgel, and I thought, well, what if people don't know what a cudgel is? So I put a little side note in there, what a cudgel is, things where
I thought it was a good touch because some people won't. There's some people that won't.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's no shame, but
absolutely right. Because what I don't want to do is write it out for people, and people go, oh, don't be so condescending. Who does she think we are? But neither did I want people going, what the hell is that? So I kind of, I circled some things and underlined some things, and I think I put something about the Celtic things coming from the celebration of Samhain, and I think I wrote something in there so people, it's a pagan rituals and stuff, so people have got a bit of a feel for where this is.
It was almost in a conversational way, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Sort of handwritten notes on, because at the end of the day, she's not a real investigator. She's just a spooky investigator, of spooky phenomenon. So it wasn't anything too serious. So that was where I come from with that. I thought, make it a little more lighthearted with these kind of fake handwritten notes, and they're not handwritten. I had to do a handwriting font because my handwriting's atrocious.
That works well, and I think it breaks it up as well. When you've got an anthology, it's quite nice to have that, I think, sometimes, rather than just jumping straight into another horror story. I think it's nice to have that break somewhere. Yeah.
And the reason why I put them in as well is because if I try to explain the story itself, the panels would have been full of text, and I don't want to do that because that's just really not good on the eye. It's boring as hell.
It's a good framing device the way you've done it.
To give people a kind of, I don't know, put a foundation there for them to know roughly what the story's about. So then you can go straight into the story and keep the text to a minimum, so people are not reading.
There's a one where they write their name on the stone and put it into the fire.
Yeah.
What was the point? Why they put their name in the stone and put it in the fire? Was it like a kind of symbol of rebirth, or? Do
you know what? I've got to be brutally honest with you and say I don't know.
Okay.
Because it is something they do. It is something that it does come from a Celtic tradition where, and I think it was to see, and I don't know, maybe it was just to see whether or not their stone went missing or the stone was burnt clear. And at the end of the day, if you think about it, if you put a stone in a fire, it probably is going to be burnt clear. Yeah. And then when you go the next day, it's like, oh God, you're all going to die because and it's probably just something they did to sort of frighten each other and put shits up each other, really. So
because if there was any chance of that happening, I wouldn't be putting the stone in the fire.
Exactly.
I'll be writing your name on it, Dan.
Yeah. So of course the main guy who loses his stone, he just happened to go missing, but it might not have been the stone. He could have just, decided to flee the area and go and, live in Scotland. So yeah, it's just probably stems from kids messing about really and going, oh, your stone's gone missing. Oh, you're going to die, kind of thing.
Had a cool back to John.
There's that Scotland there. Behind all these sort of, folk tales and, superstitions and stuff, there's always personal stuff, isn't it? I think we've just spent a couple of minutes talking about the stone thing. It's nothing to do with the actual, spooky bit. It's to do with the interactions between people and the sort of societal and, and that's what's interesting to me about it. I don't really believe in zombies, but I like the fact that the story's been told, and I kind of think, why has that been told, that story like that? What could have possibly happened? And that's the interesting bit to me. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Because I think, like I said before, I think a lot of any kind of sort of folklore story that's been handed down the years, that there will be a semblance of truth somewhere along the way, and it's just grown and grown and grown. So probably the witch one, the old kind of witch hag kind of thing. I think it's the Witch of Pontlaffer. I've made up a name. It's completely that's not a Welsh place, that Pontlaffer.
Oh, okay,
so right. Just made it up. But the original story is the Gwrach Ribbon, which is the Witch of Ribbon, and it's much longer story. And I thought it's to be honest with you, it's a bit of a boring story. So just basically cut it right back. You didn't need all the excess things around it. But when you read the story, there will be some kind of truth where there probably was an old woman that somewhere along the way parents would have gone, don't go near her house. And that's it. And then it's grown from there going, oh, she's a witch. Yeah. Oh, she's this. And then it grows into something that's quite kind of funny to hand down to your kids, isn't it? Along, down the centuries. So yeah, I mean, if you think back, there were stories when I was a kid. They used to go, don't go any further than number 42 or whatever, and because they'd make up some story. Anyway, it transpires that there was a very good reason why you don't go past number 42, because it turns out he was a paedophile. But these kind of things, that's how these things
they keep
grow,
popping up, don't they?
Yeah, it's easier to kind of like warn a kid off by saying
exactly
ghost or whatever, rather.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I quite enjoyed the one with the married couple. That's quite tragic, and it's kind of those old traditions of sort of like in that's the wedding quest, isn't it? And like the bride runs off to hide, and then, but obviously that's going to be that's going to be a seed of truth.
If only,
that that tradition has got to spring from somewhere, hasn't it? Like, why they play that game?
Well, I'm trying to remember where it actually happened, but there is like an old oak tree sort of stump that's there to this day. It's a bit like the whole Beth Gellert thing, because you can go and see the grave of Beth Gellert, and there's a tree stump there, and I think there's some kind of monument there. So there was something that happened, but it's sometimes difficult to get to the bottom of the real thing, that what really happened. You know, you can get to the bottom of the Beth Gellert story. That's a known story, you can find that. But with some of these things, it probably was a bride that did the wedding quest and just basically went missing, you know, and was never found again, or maybe she there was a deliberate reason why she went missing. She didn't want to bloody marry him, you know. And then
she discovered Dan was there, ran off with him,
and that was it. Yeah. There's a better person to be married. But the whole kind of thing being trapped in the tree, I thought that was really horrible, to be honest. I thought, well, I think I'll write about that.
So this is the stuff that I really like when Hellboy does this, because Hellboy does a lot of this, doesn't he? He discovers old folk tales and sort of puts himself in the middle of it and stuff. And I really like that part of it.
Yeah.
And that research thing is fun.
Some of them you feel like you couldn't write them because the way they come from is like, well, where did the fuck did that come up from? I can never, like, that truth is stranger than fiction kind of thing. I can never make that up. That's really bizarre.
Are you going to do another volume, do you think?
I think I will. I think because I enjoy doing it so much.
Done well on Kickstarter as well, mate.
Oh, do you know? I've got it. All right, you may or may not believe me, but when I put it on Kickstarter and I put like a thing of 200 quid, I genuinely believe that I wouldn't reach 200 quid, because I don't know. I just you know. And I thought, and when it got there, I thought, I was absolutely chuffed to bits. You know, I find it difficult to get, like, it's going to sound really strange now, I find it difficult to get overly sort of happy about stuff now. It's just with everything I've been through, it's sometimes I have a sort of level I reach now, and it's like, oh, I was dead chuffed that happened. And then, but more so the fact that I enjoyed doing it so much. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, isn't it? You know, I didn't do it to make a shitload of money. I did it because I really, really enjoyed it. And if other people enjoy it as well, do you know what? That's even better. That's even more of a bonus if people enjoy reading it.
God, yeah.
You know?
I remember pledging on it and then going back, and I think we were writing it down to announce on here, and I was thinking, it's bloody 450% or something.
It's crazy, absolutely crazy. And I really enjoyed it because there was an original art level. I only put 6 in there, and it was kind of horror icons, you know, like Dracula and Reagan and
Reagan.
I know, Reagan, yeah. So
President Reagan.
Yeah, but can you believe this? There was 6 levels. 5 people pledged. 3 people wanted Bride of Frankenstein, so I've had to draw 3 Brides of Frankenstein.
Wow, really? Okay.
Very popular.
3, and one guy wanted Dracula, one guy wanted Reagan. So I'd already done them. I'd already kind of front loaded and done them because I wanted something I could post, you know, to do a bit of marketing and stuff. And then when this survey started coming, it's like, bloody hell, another bloody Bride of Frankenstein.
You have to have a Bride of Frankenstein comic now. That would be actually probably good. That's not a bad little bit of marketing research there, is it?
Yeah.
You know?
So anyway, I've done them now. I finished them off this morning.
That's also a learning for the next campaign, though, isn't it? Like maybe
it definitely is. Yeah, and the other thing about it as well, I really, really enjoyed doing the original art, and then I did some extra ones. I did 2 Draculas. Did the Bela Lugosi one and the Christopher Lee one, and I did a Phantom of the Opera and a Nosferatu as well. So I'm going to sell them. Well, I'm going to put them up for sale anyway. You know, with it being, you know, Halloween sort of season and stuff, I'm going to sort of frame them up, bag them up, and sell them there if people are interested. So,
nice.
But I enjoyed that side of it.
Which Nosferatu is it? Is it Kinski or the original?
The original.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So
I got a thing for Klaus Kinski. He's my favourite actor.
It's Max Schreck. Is it Max Schreck? Yeah.
God,
is
he?
Yeah. He's an amazing actor, man. He's incredible. He's a maniac in real life.
I was about to say, yes.
He's an absolute fucking crazy person, but his acting is impeccable. I think he's a good actor because he's so dislocated from fucking reality.
Yeah. I think it sort of feeds you, doesn't it, as an actor?
Yeah.
If you're that way inclined, I think.
Yeah.
Bro.
So
brilliant. You actually do have another role as well, don't you? You have another job.
Oh God,
and it's Tony Esmond's motivational running teacher.
Oh yeah, totally. That's what I live for, Tony. Yeah.
The only reason I'm on a bit, for those that don't know, I'm doing like 100 runs in 100 days challenge, and the only reason I've been kept going is by you sending me a picture of, I've just done 26 miles this morning. You know, I'm thinking, oh god, I've got to go out and do 3 miles, and it's going to kill me. You know.
No, trust me, guys. I don't run that far. But to be fair, I think we kind of feed each other's sort of enthusiasm on the running, because there's been days when I've just not felt like doing it, and I thought, well, if Tony can bloody do it, I can.
Yeah, if
do
even
it.
someone like Tony can do it.
No, I didn't mean it like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, just getting out of bed and getting out there, regardless of the weather. Last week I ran every morning, and it was just fabulous. Right. It kind of sets me up for the day, And while I'm out running, I get quite a lot of ideas.
Yeah, we were talking about this the other day. It's a great time to sort of problem solve scripts and
totally,
think of ideas and stuff. Yeah, it really is. Yeah, I'm an absolute addict to it now.
It's great because I'll see things, and especially this time of year, because I'm running in the dark. And then it's all autumnal. You've got all the leaves falling, and I get these great sort of visuals. I think, oh god, that would be good in a comic. And I find myself taking pictures and think, and see if I can turn something into something for my next volume of spooky sort of case files. Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah.
There's a few shadows I've mistaken for being people hiding behind trees.
Yeah, Tony needs to keep his cardio up for when he's being chased anyway.
I saw a spooky one the other day of a man having a clear out behind a tree.
Oh God!
Oh no, that was me.
Was there a sock involved?
No, I've told you that story. That's a private story.
Right. Okay. So as you can hear, folks, H is an absolute force of nature.
Yeah.
Putting wonderful books out into the world. See, I'm skillfully avoiding whatever Tony's been doing behind trees.
It's probably best. There's
a lot of different things there, to be fair.
Yeah. But in all seriousness, though, you definitely need to get a ArtNineTwo and just get all
ArtNineTwo.com.
Yeah, there's a whole host of comics you got on there. Is it Galaxy Graphic Alliance? Obviously, you can buy yourself a Clear Run, Pre-Mortis.
Yeah.
There's a load of OA on there as well, isn't there? Yeah. I've got some lovely... I've got a Frank Miller and a Stan Lee from Damien. Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah. If you want to sort yourself out with a fantastic Christmas gift for someone in your life, check out either H or Damien's work, and you can get a lovely portrait or a comic portrait. Damien's recreations of classic comic covers.
He did Steve Dillon today. I saw he put up, didn't he, H?
Absolutely fantastic.
That's amazing.
I could hear him scribbling away at something while I was sending out emails with the PDF download. And thinking, I don't think I've done any artwork today. It's all been doing like Kickstarter fulfillments. And I thought,
ain't that the way?
But the thing is, I wanted to get it. It was ready, and I thought, why make people wait any longer? I've got a load in the post and stuff, and get it out there so people have got it now. So.
And our house here is full of artwork all over the place, but the bits, the 3 pieces that Joe loves more than anything else are the commissions I got from H of our.
And us, we've got a Sharknado on the side here.
So
that's awesome.
And I've been putting H's name forward, and I know people I know in my real life.
Your proper life.
Also have commissioned her as well, and glowing reviews.
There you go.
Wonderful. Yeah. I need to. It's funny because I haven't done any pet portraits for quite some time, because obviously I didn't have my commission book open last year because I couldn't do anything, and then I thought I'll open it again this year. And to be honest with you, I've been so busy with other stuff. It's just kind of sucked up my time. I'm not complaining. Don't get me wrong.
No. But also, I think when you first did it, it was just a avalanche effect, wasn't it? You started doing it, and then there was so many that came in, so many people asking for them. So, keep your fingers crossed, people. You never know. She might have some time in her diary for you.
You never know.
She's promised we're working on DUI 3 together, so yeah.
Well, I did say to you, didn't
that's legally binding.
Yeah. It's the caveat is as long as I'm still alive.
Okay.
But I will be, because if you go with anybody else, I'll haunt you.
Working with me will kill you. There now.
We've just got to come back on the show in the future. So
exactly. Yeah. We've got another quiz, right? So you can just shout around and
think that.
Unicorn. Still my favourite moment.
Yeah. She's not going anywhere, and she's sticking with us for the rest of the show.
Yeah.
Because we've got lots of books to recommend you as well. And but before that, do we have any shout outs this week, gents?
Mate,
and lady.
Yeah. So Nottingham is only a few short days away. And I'll be repping the ACP at that one, along with the tribute stuff.
You'll be watching the ACP?
Repping.
Right, just had to clear that up.
Kids. That's what the cool kids say.
Rep the set.
We'll have some. We'll also have some copies of our new Tijuana Bible style publication called Graphic Gospels, which went down a storm actually at Bath. We're very pleased with that. I'm also helping out on 2 panels. First up is Chris Imber is doing a live drawing session, and I'll be while he's drawing.
Don't put him off, Tony. Don't put him off.
Yeah, I'll be suggesting to audience members that they ask him to draw horses, bicycles, and armies. Things like that. And we'd be sort of just talking through his process and what his tools are and how he goes about drawing stuff and things like that. And I'll be sort of passing the mic around to the audience and stuff like that. So that's going to be good. And then we've also got Never On Anything and Roger Langridge will be talking about the name of the title of the panel is What Makes a Good Autobiographical Comic. So we're giving lots of genre-specific recommendations. And we're also going to have a look at Roger's recent collection of, he's collected, he did a sort of COVID lockdown diary book, which is really good, actually. And it really addresses some of the things that you have to address when doing an autobiographical comic with things like, do I need to get permission from my family and friends to put them in the comic and stuff like that? Some really interesting stuff.
I've never even fucking considered that.
Yeah, because I think his daughter kicks off with him about, why have you put me saying this? I didn't say that, but he then includes it back in the comic. It's quite an interesting sort of meta thing. Yeah,
that's
really, really good.
Yeah.
So Roger's a great comic creator, so that should be interesting. And then just a couple more days left on Direct Conversations, a book of intimate interviews with comic creators, authored, and the interviews are carried out by the mighty Paul Kupperberg. Keep your ears open for that name in the future. And in the final, it's about halfway through actually. I think Keir Wordsmith, by the brilliant Ian Ashcroft, who just texted me. I don't know what it says yet. It's probably something rude. He's that's also going back that because Ian's great, and he'll also be at Nottingham. So I think he'll probably have some OA there. So go and get some Ian Ashcroft original art because I think it'll be an investment for the future. There you go. There's my ones.
Nice, Dan.
I've got 2. So first one, Sect A Shadows sci-fi comic book. Join the rescue ship UUA R24 and its crew as they respond to a distress signal in the deep space of the UUA territory. That's by Aaron Racklin and Dan Harris. That's on Kickstarter now. And we've got Keir Wordsmith, issue 3. Keir Wordsmith, having freed a creature from the Wizard's Tower, begins to find herself the target of lizard-like creatures that smashed its goal. That's got another 12 days to run. By Dave West and Ian Austin. So go and check that. That's going to be fantastic.
Oh, can I also mention that Eamon Clark and Al Henderson will be helping me on the panel, obviously. Both of them are going to be there, and Al will have his Penguin stuff, so go and buy some of that. And Eamon will also, and we'll have copies of DUI 2. Don't forget, DUIcomic.bigcartel.com. It's still available, and it raises money for a great cause, so go and do that as well. And plus, I may be in it, so that's not a reason to buy, but Helena's certainly in it, which is a reason to buy. So go and get that.
One final for me, Viper Crimson Dawn. I've had some issues with Kickstarter and that, and it's going to go to an appeals process, so I've got to sort that out this week. So I've had to push the date back on that. So I watch this space. So I'm not sure when that's going to be coming out.
Well worth the wait.
So. Thank you.
Yes, we've seen it and it looks amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And speaking of even more amazing, that's all right, Dan. Well, you don't have to say thank you to us every time. It's nice to hear it though, isn't it, Tony?
Yeah. Finally.
Yeah.
How dare you?
Speaking of amazing though, you lovely people listening, probably want a few more things to add to your comics and just general wish lists, don't you? And that's what we do. We make you hate us via wanting more books and stuff. So
spending money.
We're going to help you do it. So the guests go first, always, in the recommendations section of this show. So, H, what would you like to recommend to our lovely listeners this week?
Yeah, so I'm going to recommend something that's been around for quite some time, and I'm just going to have a look because I foolishly didn't check when it was first published. So
I've seen the cover sort of floating about for a bit.
Yeah.
It's quite a distinctive cover, isn't it? Yeah.
So it was originally serialised in Lookin magazine, if any.
Oh, wow, it's from then. Bloody hell. Yeah.
In 1981 to 1982. So essentially, it's the Beatles story. And it's by Angus Allen, and the artwork's by Arthur Ransom.
Nice.
And obviously, it's no good if you don't like the Beatles, but it ticks all of my boxes because I love the Beatles and I love this artwork as well.
I mean, they're not One Direction, but they're okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who could
be?
Yeah.
They're not.
Ransom's the boss, though, isn't he?
It's just, I mean, you just flick through it. I mean, obviously, he will have taken it off photographs, and I know he did use a grant projector as well when he did a lot of his work. But I remember his work when I was younger from looking, but didn't really appreciate who he was at that time because I was too young to appreciate it. But I mean, when you look at it, the line work in it is so simplistic, but you know straight away who it is. The likenesses are lovely with just a few little flourishes of his pen, of his ink. You know, it's just really fantastic, and it's hardback as well. I can't remember how much we paid for it. I mean, it says it's $12.99, but that's not what we paid for it. And it's published by Rebellion, but it's just lovely. And if you don't know, if you're not aware of the story of the, and it sounds like a stupid thing to say if you're not aware of the story of the Beatles, but if you don't know their background right from childhood, it tells you in a very simplistic format as well exactly what happened when they were kids and how they got together and how they got their fame and stuff. So it covers that in a really lovely sequential panel way, rather than sitting and reading like a proper book, so to speak. You know what I mean, like a prose book. But it's just lovely. And then when you look at Arthur Anson's work, because like I say, I remember him from Looking, and he did produce a series of like comic strips of biographies of well-known music stars like ABBA and Presley and stuff, and even Haircut 100 and Sex Pistols. So I've not been able to find them. But yeah, I just, if you want a sort of, even if you don't like the Beatles, just look at it for the artwork. It's just, if you don't care about their story, look at the artwork because it is really, really beautiful. And it's just, I don't know, it just ticks all my boxes. I thought it was just really lovely. And I haven't actually read it all yet. I've just been flicking through it just to like ogle the art, really, you know.
I genuinely think that's how you do a cover. It's a really distinctive, cool cover. You know, it's worthy of a sort of pop art poster kind of thing, isn't it? You know. Yeah, I really admire that. I remember seeing it and actually wondering if it was Dave Sim, but it's not, is it? It's obviously Ransom. But I really like that. Yeah,
and it's, that's a good choice. It's just, and when you look through it, I mean, it's there's like I say, it's you know, people go, oh, you know, people have a bit of a down on people taking sort of reference from photographs, but how the hell else are you supposed to do it? You know,
yeah, exactly.
There's only two of them still alive, and they're old. So you know, it's kind of.
I think people who say don't take reference are imbeciles. I think people who say, you know, don't put photographs in comics, I'll agree with you, you know, but I think you have to, what else are you going to draw from if you're not drawing from life?
Well, do you know exactly. I mean, you know, I don't know who it was, it might have been you, Tony, but you know full well that I take sort of reference pictures, and I've took reference pictures.
The ones
of
I've
myself.
had to send you wouldn't believe.
I tell you, that's appearing in the next volume.
She has to rotate the image just so she's definitely sure it's the right way up.
Sometimes you're never sure. You can never tell.
Yeah.
To zoom in.
Yeah.
It'll be spooky investigations down south, not in Wales. So yeah, that's my recommendation. So
it's true about reference pictures though, because obviously, like, my sort of Inktober thing this year is like, it's the actors behind horror movies rather than like the monsters and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, so I have to have reference for it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
Well, you can do otherwise. You know what I
mean?
Yeah.
And hopefully people recognise who they are from my style. So.
That's the whole art, is it, like you're talking about there, and with your stuff, V, is, you know, you take those really important little bits and you strip everything else away. Yeah, that's how you do it, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, I'm incapable of doing every pore on someone's skin.
It's like it's the Alex Toth approach, isn't it? You know, you take away everything that isn't needed.
Yeah, I just wish I had that sort of grasp over shadow that creators like that do.
Toth, yeah, amazing. Yeah.
Anyway, now. The rest of the gang. How many have you got this week, Tony?
2, babes.
Dan, you've got 2 as well, haven't you?
2. Yeah.
So I'm going to be sandwiched between. God no!
You lucky boy.
Okay.
D&T.
A D&T BLT. No, that doesn't make any sense. So Dan,
it's JE.
Dan, you
first
go
one to go
first.
for is Ed Gein, Demon Hunter. Issue 1.
This is amazing, man. The art in this, I love this.
Really, yeah. I've been taking punts recently just on stuff I find on social media, Twitter, when someone's hoiking their comic, and I was like, oh yeah, fuck it, I'll give this a go. So this one popped up, and I went to this site of the writer called luciferstorm.com. I think that might be a writer's name.
If not, his parents were weird.
What a ledge. Yeah. So we've got Ed Gein, Demon Hunter. It's a 4-issue Outlaw Comics miniseries that take you on an adventure unlike any other. The story blends elements of fantasy, comedy, and drama genres and wraps them up in an adventure horror story that is full of humor, heroics, and a little heart. After a deranged demon escapes hell, intending to destroy everything in existence, Ed Gein, the infamous butcher of Plainfield, is sent back to his old stomping ground to hunt, capture, and return the demon to hell. But first, Ed must overcome his past traumas and his own personal demons. I was honestly like, where the hell's they gonna put this? Because obviously Ed Gein was a real person, so. I think you said you had some misgivings about that, didn't you, Vince?
Yeah, it was interesting. No, Dan, you talk about your experience.
So, so we got it's written by Lucifer Storm, penciled and inked by Cristiani Rossi, led by Lucifer Storm, cover colors by Cristiano Rossi, edited by John Wakefield. The art, Christian, I think that's the name. I apologize if I pronounced that wrong. Oh, it's absolutely lovely. Like I say, it looks like something out of 100. Was it 100 bullets?
Yeah.
Oh,
but black and white.
Stuff.
Yeah,
black and white. You come into the second page. Sorry, page 2 and 3 is a spread of the detective and the police officers going through Gein's living room, and he's got all the bodies and everything's cut up there. It's absolutely wonderful work throughout. Essentially, the story is. Like I read out there in that brief synopsis, the demons come to Earth to kind of like destroy reality, as it were, and hell needs to send someone out to go and get him. They list through the other serial killers they could possibly send out, like John Wayne Gacy, and the boss, which I think it might be Satan, I'm not too sure, essentially says that because Gein is so conflicted and torn up, he thinks he should be punished. So if they send him out, he will come back because he feels like he's deserving of this kind of misery that he's brought on people and should be punished for it. And he's sent out with another sort of demon who comes back, bring it back to anthropomorphic. He's kind of like a bloodhound who accompanies him at the end, and the story ends up with this demon as a bloodhound and Gein back on Earth trying to hunt down this demon. And it comes. I won't spoil it, but it goes from there. But it's, I've got to say, I was kind of like, I'm not sure where this is going to go. And it's got like a light touch of humor in here. The demonic characters were in hell. They've got their characters. Everything's really strong. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to get the others because I really enjoyed the whole book. I'd highly recommend it.
Yeah.
If you sign up to the newsletter on the site, you get the first issue sent to you free. I didn't realize that. I bought it. So,
because you're a good man.
Check it out.
Yeah, supporting small press.
I did notice on the cover you've got Ed standing over a grave, and there's all gravestones in the back. And most of the names on the tombs are those of the Red Letter Media guys.
Oh, okay.
Rich Evans, Jay Bauman, Mike Stoslaka, and Jack Packard. So that's a nice little touch in there. So yeah,
cool.
Go check out. So
yeah.
Vince, you said you've checked this one out.
Yeah, you very kindly sort of forwarded it on to us and read it. And this, I can't fault this book in terms of the art's beautiful, the writing's great. You know, it pushes the story forward brilliantly. This isn't a caveat like I don't like this book, because I like this book. It was a kind of strange experience for me, and I think it's probably to do with earlier this year. I read another Ed Gein book, the Eric Powell and Harold Schechter. Did you hear what Eddie Gein done? They're sort of like biographical sort of one, which obviously a different, completely. You know, this is the true life take on it, and so there was part of me was thinking this is a cool book, but would it work better if it was this sounds horrible to say, an original serial killer? Do you know what I mean? Is it?
Yeah.
If you get past the name value of the serial killer, you know, I think it would. I think how strong it's written and how well it's drawn. I think it doesn't necessarily need to be Ed Gein.
Doesn't, yeah. I think but with the Ed Gein brings people in.
It totally does. Yeah, totally does. It's and like obviously we live in a world where people are obsessed. You know, not obsessed, but some people are with true crime. And obviously we've just had like the Dharma show just come out on Netflix and stuff. And like for me personally, a lot of that stuff's just not for me. It's I'm like I know about the story. I know about these stories. I've read about these stories, and I've read books like I said. The biographies and stuff. But sometimes when it's fictionalized media with these sort of characters involved, I'm not sure how I feel about it. The older I
Okay.
get. Is that weird to say?
No.
Which is why I want to say that without taking anything away from a book that's very, very well made. Because, like, the artwork is just... I was like, this dude's got major chops. Just fucking... It's just awesome. But
it's a bit different as well for me because, like, when it's kind of... like that's a serial killer from overseas, do you know what I mean? There's a kind of a detachment. But if he did, like, Howard Shipman, Demon Hunter or something, I'd be like, really? Like, you're going to fucking do that?
Don't give anyone an idea.
Yeah. You know, so there's a context thing. But you know that was just what I thought. And some people, I know, you know, some people might take these sort of thoughts and go, "You can't do that." It's just no, I'm not like that. I'm just sort of saying this.
No.
This is a great book. I'm just not sure about that flavour of it.
Okay, fair enough.
But saying that, you do need to check it out, people, because it's
it's
a good comic.
Yeah, it's amazing. The use of shadow and art in that is just fucking incredible.
Yeah. It's got a real energy to it as well. The story. So yeah. Okay,
that's
Tony.
my first one.
Yep. Tony, what's your first
mine's called Shipman Vampire Hunter. Mine's called
Shipman Pep.
Mine's called Mavericks and Lunatics, Icons of Underground Comics by Drew Friedman. Do you guys know who he is?
Why do I know the name?
You introduced me to him quite recently.
Yeah. H, if you don't know, can I you just Google him while we're talking, H, because I think you'll really like his stuff. It's $34.99. It's hardback from Fantagraphics. It's 101 full-page portraits and sort of short profiles of the stars of underground comics, which obviously we're a fan of, and that movement. And all those people who are sort of hugely influential on comics going forward, you know, comics to this day. That, you know, I watched that. Is it Funny Pages? What's that movie that's just come out? I watched that this morning. It's got a great forward from Mark Maron, you know, the comedian guy, does the podcast. I quite like him. And it does talk quite openly about his masturbation over Robert Crumb comics. Made me laugh. Anyone who's seen his work, I'm sure, Drew Friedman's work, I'm sure will immediately be a fan. I can definitely seeing it. He's a kind of artist who would appeal to you and Dames, H.
All right.
I've got to tell you. Have a look when you get a chance.
Yeah.
What do you think? Have you managed to Google it or?
Just a second.
Okay, I'll leave you.
I was writing something down. Whether you were.
That's fine. Sorry. Yeah. He's uber detailed. But there's he does this sort of. He's got a style that is.
Oh yeah.
Very realistic, but at the same time quite strange almost. Do you know what I mean?
I like it. Yeah, it's my cup of tea. That
Yeah, there's a sort of always a little bit of personality and glint in the eye, and you know, there's a caricature element to them.
There is
a real realism to them in a weird way. I don't know why, but he's illustrated for decades. He's been in Raw Magazine, Heavy Metal, Weirdo, High Times, National Lampoon, much more. In 2006, he did a book that I think is on. I think you can get this on Comixology, believe it or not. It's called Old Jewish Comedians, which is another absolute joy. I've got a copy of that. That's absolutely lovely. But he does this thing where he really captures the essence of these people. There's a little bit of a cheeky element to them. That the heads are always sort of slightly bigger than the bodies, if you see that sort of style of cartooning. But the level of detail is super incredible level of detail. You can almost see every pimple on their face, you know. Everyone in that world, I think I described this book as these underground artists are my rock stars. You know, they really are for the world of comics. Everyone in it, or loads of the people in it, look like they once sang with they played the bass in Jefferson Airplane or something like that. You know, they've got that sort of greasy long hair look, you know, big glasses, sometimes they're sort of slightly tinted. They've probably done a few too many tabs of lysergic acid in their time, that sort of thing about them. Slightly unwashed. But it's absolutely brilliant. I know we've got a guest coming on in a couple of weeks who's going to talk about, you know, comics as Christmas presents. But I think if you've got someone who's into that sort of, I can think of about 10 people on our Slack who would love this. If you've got people who are interested in that area of underground comics, it would make a lovely Christmas present. You know, it's got that feel to it. It's not super expensive. It's only $34.99 in dollars. Nice, massive hardback on the shelf kind of book. But yeah, really lovely. Mavericks and Lunatics, Icons of Underground Comics. There you go. Oh,
nice one.
Nice. Dan, do you want to do yours? I'm going to save mine because I'm going to have a big rant about mine, and I had a little bit of a rant about Dan's one as well. So, yeah. So I'm going to save mine for another week. Dan, do you want to do your second one?
You got sent on to Tony. Sent this comic on to me. Let's get these words.
Oh
out.
yeah.
Fortress issue 1, 2, and 3, which I believe 3 has just come out quite recently.
Just about to, I think.
Just about to.
Just about to, yeah.
And I recommend you get on it ASAP before you're on.
The dude's on the. To be fair, I did send it to you guys because I didn't want to show my sort of partisan, because it's distributed by strangers who obviously distribute us as well. But I thought I'd send it on to you guys just so you could have a look. But I think you really liked it as well, Dan. I mean,
I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I within like 2 pages, I like this straight away. Written, drawn, all the art is done by Rome Comics, and that's Joel van der Nap. So essentially, Fortress is kind of a post-APOC story, but kind of with a twist where like AI robots have taken over the world. And it appears like the salvation is in one man called Caleb, who's been locked away. And he's kind of like a cybernetic entity that maybe has the chance of kind of like defeating the big bad and putting everything right. And the only way that's going to do that is get him his limbs back, which help him control his powers because he's missing an arm and a leg, and reform the fortress, which are kind of like the team of people that worked around him and with him. But everything sort of changed and spun on its head, and what was once kind of one way is now another. And they've got a kind of, what's the name of the girl, Tony? I always fucking forget her name.
Yeah, I can't remember, man. Yeah, I'm crap with names of people in comics. Unless I write it down, I can never remember them.
Gets him. There's one great thing that Joel has done at the start of each one of these comics is like he does 6 or 7 panels of like these characters are in this comic, and it gives you a little bit. And her name is Itar, and she's a freedom fighter, and she kind of guides him around. And through the first 3 issues, it's them kind of like ducking and dodging from assassins and trying to get everything back on an even keel again. And who doesn't like stories about kind of like plucky resistance fighters fighting against like impossible odds
and lots of robots and
lovely action fighting. It's kind of, it's done in halftone with very muted and selective color palette. You've got pinks and green, blacks and whites, and that's it.
That really works. I think I really like that.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
It gives it a sort of a real idiosyncratic feel to it, doesn't it? It's such an individual style. To me, I don't know if you think, Dan. I know one of the reasons I was really glad you enjoyed this because it's almost like a late 80s, 90s sci-fi blockbuster comic, but it's done with almost like a small press indie underground aesthetic to it in a way.
Agreed. Yeah. I kind of get a little bit of Frank Miller's Ronin vibes from it.
Okay. Yeah,
very slightly. But it's just not to big up Joel too much, but like there's a mastery here of like what's going on in this comic. This guy knows what he's doing, and some of the stuff is kind of quick and done. Like it flows on the page, and I can't imagine the kind of energy when he's drawing this kind of stuff, and it just works. It's just really good. I really enjoyed it. I can't wait for more.
Yeah. So I think he's Australian. The dude's Australian.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think if you go to Strangers Fanzine, but not Big Cartel, I think it is. I'll confirm that, but it's that's where you can get it from.
Lovely stuff.
Strangerspublishing.com. I know they distribute it in the States. I wonder whether it's something we can speak to about getting it over here as well.
Yeah.
Getting it on a distro
because there's a
list
massive bloody cliffhanger and reveal at the end of issue 3.
Yeah.
Like holy fuck! Like you want to know where the story's going. It's fascinating. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
There's a taste to the sort of designs on it, almost of like maybe a sort of Japanese toy design, like something like Shogun Warriors on some of the stuff as well, which I really liked. Yeah.
And not all the robots are bad guys. You know what I mean? It's kind of it's not. I'm trying to make it kind of sounds like a bit of a Saturday morning kids cartoon, but kind of with an adult kind of twist, but not too much.
Yeah,
I'm kind of butchering the description of it, but yeah, it's great stuff. I really enjoyed it, and if you know my sensibilities and tastes, I think you will too.
Yeah, cool. Nice one.
I didn't actually say where you fucking get that from.
Yeah, I did. I gave the US one.
Yes,
nice. Yeah.
Tony.
Good. Kossacks Volume 1, 649 Kindle edition. A little too much, I'm going to say. It's from City Book though, who we love. Script by Vincent Brugeas, or Brugius, artwork from Roman Tulhout and Johan Guilo, colours by Johan Guilo, originally published by Dargaard. Actually, this year, it's a recent republished. So I don't think it was published in France and Belgium in 2022. In 2021, and then it was republished by Cinebook very, very recently. It's a real epic of a book, and actually had me sort of Googling some of the history. I don't really know the history, although we've all recently learnt some of it about the Slavic world, and this is set in the 17th century in Eastern Europe. And it follows a young warrior called Carlis, and he's a Hussar, and it opens with him in the afterlife of this first huge battle, and he's watching the sunrise on a pile of bodies. And another soldier comes to him and says, "You've proven yourself in this battle. This is a horrible situation. This man's, proven his sort of, covered in blood, and he's murdered all these soldiers and killed everyone. And he said, and you're worthy now of the name of Hussar." But as he's facing away and staring into the pile of bodies and the light coming up in the sunrise, beautifully done. And his eyes tell another story. His eyes tell a story of sort of trauma and shame and regret about what he's just done. And then you fast forward just a couple of days, and Carlos is being chased, and he's riding like fucking full pelt across this field. And he's decided to leave, and he's being chased by them. They won't let him go now. And he's decided to go AWOL from the army, and they're chasing him to try and kill him. And even though there's 30 warriors chasing him, he still manages to escape into the woods and then sort of double back. And he also gains an upper hand on them, which is pretty impressive. And so you've got all that going on. But what you have on the hill watching them is an old man and a girl, and they're members of the local Cossack settlement. And eventually they cross paths with our hero and Carlos, and he has to, and they take him into the Cossack group. And Cossacks, really interesting history of them. God, really interesting people. But the elders in the Cossack, they put him through sort of trials. And it's things like you have to learn, you have to show you can shoot an arrow, but you also have to show that you can help to provide fish and food for the families. And, it's this whole thing. I tell you, it reminded me a little bit of 300 in a way, but without the sort of, purity of the 300, Spartans. But this is this sort of warrior group, this group of nomadic warriors who, are hired at different times by different governments and different kings, but are just like fucking hard as nails, like absolutely hard as nails. And they're really proud, really strong, really self-sufficient group of men and women. And but what happens is, it turns out that Carlos's old commander and king, he's commanding a Polish-Lithuanian army, and they're looking to just rid the land of Cossacks. And they're getting slowly nearer and nearer. And one of the Cossacks says, "Oh, look, the next village of the neighboring Cossacks is on fire, and they're coming for us next." And it's an absolute cracking read. It's just really good. It's only the first volume. It's got a sort of pulpy adventure feel to it, but has a real reverence to the history, which I ended up going back and looking at. But it's full of energy, we know what bande dessinée is like. They don't scrimp on backgrounds and castles and lakes and horses and battles and, this sort of thing. It's just beautiful to behold. I know Cinebook tends to put all their stuff out physically, don't they? So I really do need to get a copy of this, the physical copy of it. But just gorgeous. Burgess installs a real sense of personality to each and every person. So the thing is about, unlike 300, unlike the Spartans, is the Cossacks will take people in. So that, Carlos is a Lithuanian soldier. There's other people from different parts of Europe, some Turkish people there and this sort of thing. So they will take other races and people from other countries into their group. But then they become a Cossack. This is this big thing. They become this sort of semi-nomadic warrior. And so he's really researched about that. But he gives everyone a real sense of personality, but also like a real sense of brotherhood. When you're in, you're real sort of a tight brotherhood. And, there's a real staunch friendship between these people, and they will die for each other now, Brugias also, he's an interesting writer. I've downloaded a couple of other things he's written as well. But he wrote something, I think you reviewed it, Dan, probably 4 years ago, called The Regiment.
Yeah, about the true history of the SAS.
That's the one. Yeah. He wrote that as well. And he looks like he works with Tulhout a lot. And I've downloaded a book that Tulhout has also drawn, which is called The Zeppelin War, which looks amazing. The art is just fucking breathtaking. It's comparable to do you remember the Marini book, The Eagles of Rome, which I think was sixth. I think the sixth volume is about to come out, and it's like that sort of the way Bond Destinée does it. They have these sort of almost, some of them come out yearly, don't they? They have this sort of serial that comes out, and they're so addictive. I absolutely love them. I'm all over this now. This is now my passion. Kossacks, it's called. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah.
Well, there you go, folks. Loads of books for you to go out and get your hands on, pre-order, find out more about the creators, etc. And speaking of creators, thank you once again, H, for joining us this week.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Thanks, mate.
Absolute legend as always.
Pleasure.
If there's anything you want us to talk more about, maybe we've touched on some topics that you want to hear.
Pigeons.
Pigeons. If there's any local stout fan clubs out there, please get in touch with us. There's several different ways you.
Not polecats, so we've talked about that.
Oh no, not them. But you can email us awesomecomicspod@gmail.com. Follow us on social media. On Twitter, we are @theawesomepod. If you do the Book of Faces, go to facebook.com/awesomecomicspodcast. There's a community group, Awesome Comics Talk, and there's a fantastic group on Slack. So download that.
Yeah.
Join the Awesome Comics Podcast community group on there. There's loads of different channels, loads of different conversations going on, whether it be art, whether it be conventions, whether it be
it's a good one. If you are a small press creator, we talk about each convention that each person goes to and whether it's worth doing. You can almost like judge where is a good place to book for next year. So it's useful for that.
You can always throw stuff up for feedback and ask for some campaign questions about Kickstarter, like what would be the best way of doing stuff.
Genuine conversation, no bitchiness, no snark, just supportive community. That's what we're all about. So please join us there, and thank you for listening to us, whether it's on the website awesomecomics.podbean.com. If you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, subscribe and leave a review. It helps get the word out about this very show and all the stuff that we talk about. The more people that listen, the more people that discover new cool books to read, or perhaps buy their loved ones for Christmas. You never know. And we're also on loads of other networks like Spotify, Amazon, Stitcher, Podnose, Podknife. I'm forgetting. What was the other one we're on, Tony?
We're on Pod, Justified and Ancient, and they drove an ice cream van.
God, it changes. I need to talk to you about that in a minute.
By the way, can I give a little shout out to Ian M on the Slack? He's doing two Inktobers. He's doing one called Planttober, where he draws a different plant every day, and he's doing one called Kangtober, where he draws Kang in a different drawing every day.
Amazing.
Fucking genius. Yeah.
Amazing.
I love seeing these come up. There's some great ones, but there's loads of people on there. Zach, Dan,
I've
there's
never
loads of stuff going on. Sam,
done one ever.
Great.
No,
these guys
a whole month.
I've never managed it, but by God, I'm trying this year.
You ever tried it, H?
What, Inktober?
Yeah.
Yeah, did it a few years ago now, and like a load of us did it from old college mates when we used to go to art college, and it was fantastic because it got people drawing that hadn't drawn for such a long time, and you could see us all improving as we went through the month. And you started off a bit ropey, and we all started, and we'd all encourage each other. I've not done it since, but then at the time we all had the time to do it, and then time just disappears, doesn't it? And it's just such a commitment, But it was good. It was good fun when we did it, and I could see myself improving. I thought, "Ooh, it gets your mojo going, doesn't it?" A bit.
It's really that simple with drawing. You just do more of it.
Yes. Exactly. Exactly. And then that's the thing when I used to teach you, they go, "Well, it's all right for you because you can draw." It's like, but so can you. You just need to practice. It's just consistency, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah,
there you go.
agreed.
Life lessons. More life lessons.
Life lessons indeed. Yeah.
Where can people find you online, H?
I am at we've got a website which is www.art92.com, and then if you go to Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, it's all at art92, all one word.
And it's not the numbers, it's the letters. Isn't
it's
it?
all the letters. Yeah. I'm not as prolific on some of the social media because, as you know, social media can be a bit of a petri dish, can't it? But need to get on there and get some stuff on there. But Instagram is probably more useful for art, I think, isn't it? Because it's picture based.
Yeah.
So just check out.
It's the nicest place in the world. Instagram, isn't it? Yeah. That's where Jane and I often talk.
The nicest place in the world. What, social media? Really?
No, Instagram. Yeah, not bloody Twitter. Bloody hell.
No. I just mean social media in general. You think there's a nice one? Lovely. How nice.
OnlyFans. OnlyFans. They're very friendly on there.
For money.
Speaking of that, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Vanguard Comic, and you can read Vanguard at vanguardcomic.com.
Tony.
Neverironanything.com.
And you can find me on the social media at Jester Diablo. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening to this week's show. We hope you had fun. Join us next week where we have a bit of spooky fun. And I may actually sound in some ways normal. I don't know.
Big guest next week, guys.
So,
what, you mean I wasn't the big guest?
No,
disappointed.
Sorry, not as big. Yeah.
Have a brilliant week, everyone, from Dan, Tony, H, and myself. We hope you're happy, healthy, doing okay, because we all love you very much. I'm not giving Tony a chance this week.
No.
So read loads of comics, make loads of comics. And as always, well, what should the listeners do?
Stay awesome.
Stay awesome.
Yes.
Hey. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
See you later.